Welcome to a meeting of the Board of Education of the Somerset Hills School District. Please be advised that this and all meetings of the board are open to the public and media consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, and that advance notice required therein has been provided. This is a meeting of the Board of Education of Somerset Hills at which formal action may be taken. The public will have an opportunity to be heard as shown on the agenda. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the public notice of this meeting, which included the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda of this meeting, was distributed at 3 p.m. on July 9th, 2025 in the following manner. Posted on the bulletin board reserved for announcements in the board office, 25 Alcott Avenue, Bernardsville, New Jersey. Posted in the main office of Bedwell, Bernardsville Middle School, and Bernards High School. Mailed to the Courier News and the Bernardsville News, and posted on the SHSD website. Filed with the clerk of the Borough of Bernardsville, Far Hills, Peapack and Gladstone, and Bedminster Township. Delivered to the 10 duly elected board members. Mr. Liguori, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Baker?
Here.
Ms. Ballard?
Here.
Ms. Clark Emery?
Here.
Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Ms. Gills?
Here.
Mrs. Gomez?
Here.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Here.
Mrs. Santoro?
Here.
Mrs. Rye? Mrs. Frenda?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. Executive session. The Open Public Meetings Act authorizes a public body to exclude the public from that portion of a meeting at which specified topics are to be discussed under circumstances where the public consideration of such topics will clearly endanger the public, or where the personal privacy or guaranteed rights of individuals whose activities or affairs are to be discussed would be clearly in danger of unwarranted invasions, and the matters about to be presented for discussion clearly meet the circumstances test of such act. The Board of Education of Somerset Hills now adjourns its public session to reconvene an executive session for the purposes of discussing the following: student matters, negotiations, personnel, and litigation. And be it further resolved that the discussion in executive session be disclosed when the board's consideration of the subject matter has been closed, or that such matter does not adversely affect the rights of prospective, current, or past public officers or personnel of the board, unless such individuals have in writing requested the disclosures of such discussions at a public meeting, and provided such public disclosure will no longer clearly endanger the public interest. Can I have a motion to go into executive session, please? Ms. Cooper, and a second? Ms. Gills? Okay, we're good. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everyone for coming this evening. Dr. Broschel will take the podium in a moment and begin with the superintendent's report and our student speakers.
Pardon my lateness to my own party here. So we're going to kick it off with our middle school student representatives. We have cross-country and field hockey that are being represented tonight. And our speakers from the middle school are RJ Donato and Julie Calvert. So I'm going to ask Julie and RJ to come on up. Seeing you again. So we're going to do ladies first.
Hi, my name is Julie Calvert, and I am in 8th grade at BMS. I'm in the House of Duke, and I am a goalie for our field hockey team. We have won 3 games out of 9 this season. We have improved a lot from last year since we had no winning games last year. Now that more people have joined our team and decided to participate, we have gotten much better. We have improved both our defense and our forwards by being more aggressive for the ball and spreading out on the field. We have practiced almost every day except for game days. I would like to thank Ms. Paterno and Ms. Sheehan for helping our team improve and start winning games. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't be 3-9 right now. I like Ms. Paterno because sometimes she is tough, and I like tough coaches because They help you focus more and show that you need to not fool around. And I like machine because anytime that we would get a goal or the goalie saves the ball from going in, she would bring us chocolate chip cookies, although we would have to earn them. Our school has a scholastic book fair that was sponsored by the BMS HSA. We were all able to attend during our literacy classes. I like the book fair because it has all different types of books to choose from: action, scary, and humorous books. I recently just got 2 action books called That's Not What Really Happened and Tell Me What Really Happened. In addition to books, they also have some goodies and toys to play with. We are in the student council election season for here at BMS. There are 13 kids running for offices. Student campaign videos will be played during our social studies classes so that we can vote for who we think is the best candidate. Good luck to all of our candidates. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I will now turn it over to RJ.
Hello, my name is RJ Donato. I am a 7th grade student at BMS. I am in the House of Records. I play for the boys soccer team with 21 other students at BMS. I have been asked here to speak tonight about our soccer team and what we have accomplished. We did not start off the season as well as we hoped, going 0-4, but we did have a 3-game winning streak and ended the season with 3 wins. In 2 weeks, we will play in the playoffs, and we are hoping we can go into the next round. I would like to thank my coaches, Coach Koch and Coach Dabin. On the first day of practice, that we did not look like a strong team, but the coaches believed in us and knew that we could be a great team. After about a week of practice, my coach told me that I'd be the second 7th grade captain in BMS history. He believed in me because he thought I could lead the team very well. Last week versus Madison, I scored 4 goals and found that I had broken the record for most BMS goals made in one game, and every classmate and teacher were very supportive and kind to me when they found out. Next, I would like to speak briefly about the BMS Color Run that is taking place on Tuesday, October 21st. There is still time to sign up for the Color Run, and this event is open to all BMS families and students. All participating students earn house points for this exciting event benefiting the American Heart Association. BMS has enjoyed a great relationship with the American Heart Association for 2 years, and we were lucky enough to receive new equipment for them to keep all BMS students healthy. At BMS, we are heart healthy and stay active in phys ed, playing sports and physical demanding games. Lastly, I wanted to remind families and students that BMS is holding a virtual pumpkin parade. Students can upload a picture of their carved pumpkins on a Google form that is located on the House Google Classroom pages. This picture will be displayed at lunch on Halloween on a slideshow. Thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight.
RJ and Julie, you guys did terrific. Great work. I'm glad that RJ pointed out that he's broke a school record. That was so awesome, and I can't tell you how many people have told me about it in the middle school, so it's a really big deal, and congratulations. And I keep hearing about how well Julie's been playing in goalie as well, and so it's great things to hear. One thing that RJ spoke about is the great work that's taking place at the middle school regarding the American Heart Association. And I represent the district on a board with the American Heart Association. I'm one of 6 superintendents that confer with the executives at the American Heart Association. And I was on a Zoom call today, and they pointed out specifically the work that's taking place at Burnersville Middle School. They spoke about the Color Run. And I want to point out that you all have only been really involved in this work for 2 or 3 years, but it is making a big difference outside of Burnersville, and people are seeing that. And that starts inside of your school, and it starts with your leadership and your activism. And I just want to point that out, that the folks at the middle school are doing great things with the American Heart Association. So thanks for bringing that up. And we have Nolan and Sophia here tonight to do the student report. And I'm going to call up Sophia first, right? We're going to do ladies first tonight. And you're somewhere on one of these slides, too.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so.
Hi everyone, it's good to see you all tonight. These past couple weeks have been very stressful and very chaotic, especially for the seniors. The first college application deadline is actually today, so everyone's finishing their college essays and supplementals and submitting them, and the next deadline is actually November 1st. So this month is very chaotic and very stressful, but we're all going to get through this together. Starting off with peer leadership. A little more background of what it is that it's an orientation group of upperclassmen that help the new students, freshmen, adjust to the high school. So we meet with them every Thursday or Friday in their gym class, and they're assigned into groups for the whole semester, and they have assigned peer leaders, and we do a lot of activities with them every week, and it just allows them to make those new connections with people from other schools and allows them to create bonds with their peer leaders as well. And we started meeting with them actually a couple weeks ago, and it's been going very well, a lot of positive feedback. I'm already bonding with all of my freshmen, and they're a great group of kids, and everyone's just having fun with it, and it's so fun. And also, last weekend, Peer Leadership hosted our first car wash right in front of the Olcott building. It was a huge success. We had around 55 cars come, and we raised about $1,300. And it was from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. All the peer leaders volunteered. It was also it was very beneficial. We are donating the money to Community in Crisis. And not only was it a huge success, but it was also very fun for all the peer leaders. We had so much fun cleaning, washing the cars. So it was just overall a huge success. And going on with the clubs at our school, we actually hosted an activity fair a couple weeks ago in the media center. I think there will be some photos on the slides later on, but it was also a huge success. Every club had a table run by the board of each club, and students could just walk around and join as many clubs as they liked. This is very beneficial for the freshmen because it allows them to get involved, and also other students too. I ran a table at the activity fair for the hidden opponent, and we had about 80 people sign up for our club, so it is definitely a huge success. And people hand out food too, so it's very fun. There's candy all over the place, so I know a lot of the students like it. And also with the school, we are having our homecoming, pep rally, and homecoming game next week. So it's a very busy week. The pep rally is run by the student council, and everyone gets involved. All the sports get involved. The choir is actually singing the national anthem, so we are just prepping for that this week. So it is definitely a huge success. All the students enjoy it, and we have it at the end of the day on Friday, so everyone's in a good mood and excited for the football game that night. So we're all looking forward to that as well. Going on with the sports, all of our sports are doing phenomenal jobs, starting off with field hockey. We are 9-7, and we have been having some amazing comebacks recently. On our senior night, we were down 0-2 at halftime, but then we won 3-2 against Belvedere, and it was a very memorable night, especially for the seniors. Definitely a game I will never forget. And today we actually beat Franklin 9-3. So we've been having a really good go of our season so far. We're about to start counties. Oh, we started counties. Our next game is Saturday. So we are just hoping we get far, but it's a great group of girls, and we are all bonded, and the team chemistry is just insane. So I really think we'll go far this year. And going on with girls soccer, they are 7-3. They're also an amazing group of girls who are so bonded. You can really see their team chemistry when they play. It's amazing to see them play. To watch them play. They actually went against Rutgers Prep yesterday, one of the best teams in the nation, and they lost 1-0, but it was the first team Rutgers Prep had played that they didn't demolish the other team. So I call that a win. And going on with cross country, the boys actually took the overall championship and division championship yesterday, and it's our second ever Skyland title, which is amazing. And the girls took the third in the Valley Division out of, I believe, 8 teams. So our sports teams are doing very well. Nolan will go on about the football team and the boys soccer team and all of our successes. So I will just hand this over to Nolan. Thank you.
So yeah, segueing into other sports, boys soccer had their first game in the county tournament. They were the 2 seed, so they had a bye for 2 rounds. We were playing against the, I believe it was 10-seeded Manville, because they upset the 8, and we won 3-0. Tim Koch had a goal. He has a total of, senior Tim Koch has a total of 15 goals on the year, which is just awesome. Him and other senior captain Jacob Marquez leading the team offensively to victory, to their 12-0 start to the season. Big game playing our crosstown rivals Ridge, Alcott Field, I believe at 10 a.m. this Saturday in the county semifinal. We are looking to reach our first county semifinal in the last 3 years. Prior to that, we had made it 3 years straight. So we're trying to get back to some familiar territory. Likely we'll meet Pingree, which is always a tough opponent, but we were able to take them down my freshman year, and unfortunately we lost to them in the county final my sophomore year. So we got some familiar rivalries ahead, but we're hoping that we can come out on top. I mean, we certainly have the talent to do it. Then segueing into football and talking about big wins. So last time I was here, we were 3-0, and now we're 7-0, coming off this weekend against a great program, big school, Summit. We went onto their turf, playing in the rain, and we came out on top in a 1-score game, 17-14. Let's give it up for the football team. I mean, just look at that picture of Coach Simino. I think that right there shows how awesome that win felt. Below him, we have our senior captain, Logan Stevens, and boy, is he the leader of the team. We didn't crack a touchdown in the first half. We were down, I believe it was 7-3. Yeah, it was 7-3 at halftime, and he gave a rousing halftime speech in the locker room. He got us all fired up, and we went back out there on a mission, and we weren't going to leave there with a loss. He had over 150 rushing yards in the game. He scored the game-winning touchdown, and we're just so grateful to have a leader like him and just talent all around, offense, defense. We forced a fumble against them, breaking up lots of passes, huge tackles, and just great. Also, building off football, we have junior at Bernards High School, Ben Ballion, who does this thing every week called like the Blitz with Ben Ballion, in which he does like question. He asks all the players on the team like a question, and it's super funny. You can find them on the Bernards Football Booster Instagram account. Great way to get to know all us Mountaineers, and for him to build that experience for his desired career in podcasting. Segueing off that, we got the new podcast studio, which the Crimson and the Crimson podcast has taken full advantage of. They even won a Snow Award already for an interview with field hockey captain Jessica Fu. They've just been loving it, posting a bunch of videos there. You can catch them on the Crimson YouTube. It was really a great addition that they are absolutely loving. Next, I'll talk about the fall play, which is coming up. It's always end of October, so we have a play. The play is Halloween weekend, so that October 31st is Halloween. There's a play performance and very likely to be a home football game, so a lot for Bernardsville residents to do that night. And then there'll also be a Saturday matinee at 2 and Saturday 7 p.m. showing and a Saturday 2 p.m. showing. It's an old play called The Arsenic and Old Lace, it's been around for a long time. I know there was a movie in the 1930s, a movie adaptation all the way back then, so that play's been around for a long time. Last time I was here, we discussed the new Genesis policy in which neither students nor parents can view it during the school day. And I would say the student feedback to that has actually gone up a lot, and a lot of them wanting to see their grades during the school day. And at our monthly student leaders meeting, we actually had a really productive conversation about it with Dr. Nigel and started presenting some alternatives that he then communicated to Superintendent Dr. Broschel. So Dr. Nago really does a good job of making sure student voices are heard, and on our part, we do a good job speaking. So, end off with a music update here as a member of the music program. In the jazz band, we got our 3 songs, and we're preparing them for the winter concert. A very cool arrangement of My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. We also have a jazz arrangement of Silver Bells, another classic Christmas song, and then just a classic jazz piece in Autumn Leaves. As for the marching band, the Mountaineers have shown this. The Mountaineers show this season is titled Larger Than Life, featuring music from the Backstreet Boys, the Jackson 5, the Beatles, and One Direction, including Larger Than Life. Lots of boy bands, common theme there. So the lead band director, Mr. Tessler, I've spoken on him a few times here, and the assistant band director is Jason Snyder, and the color guard director is his wife, Rachel Tessler, and percussion technician is Alyssa Jurgens. But it is student leaders who make the marching band the most successful. Drum majors, Christina Ricadas and Jack Cohen, who are student directors, and then percussion captain, Lucian Spiteri, who organizes the front ensemble and drum line, color guard captain, Cameron Bong, and color guard lieutenant, Arianda Morales Quintana, who coordinate and train the routines for our color guard, and field captain, Evan Schwartz, who organizes and rehearses our horn line. These enthusiastic and skillful student leaders have elevated our marching band to a whole new level of excellence, unprecedented in the program's recent history. This season, marching band is competing in the New Jersey Marching Band Directors Association competition circuit, visiting other schools, seeing many award-winning performances, and placing our target for the program's growth and learning goals. Bands compete by size class, ranging from Group 1A, 1 to 40 members, to Group 4A, 200 plus members. Being 24 members large, our band is not only in Group 1A, but is also the smallest band among them. Well, we still got quite a sound, as you hear at the football games. Not only this, but we have scored within decimal points of the bands who have taken 3rd and 4th place, making those schools nervous to lose to us. We have never been stronger or more excited to represent Bernards High School in the world of the marching arts, and are optimistic in our capacity to place well at the NJMBDA State Championships on November 2nd, hosted by the College of New Jersey. The marching band's next big performance will be at New Jersey's Music Educators Association Festival, hosted by Wayne Hills High School. Schools that are competing in the NJMBDA, as well as schools who are not, will participate in this festival to take home ratings rather than compete for placement. The ratings are gold, silver, and bronze, respectively, and caption awards for Best Music and Best Visual will be awarded as well. This is an opportunity for the band to obtain a fresh perspective on their current performance without the pressures of placing in competition. See new and inspiring shows that are not competing in the NJMBDA, and celebrate the marching arts as a wider culture alongside other schools. At last year's NJMEA Festival, we took home a silver rating, and we're looking to take home silver or better this year. That's all from our student update, and I'll hand it over to some other students who have accomplished some great things recently.
Outstanding report from all of our student representatives from the middle and high school. Thank you very much. So I'm going to introduce Anaksani, who's a student here at the high school, and she has some things that she wants to apprise the board of. And after she does that, we're going to honor her with a recognition for some outstanding work that she's done in the community. Ms. Sani?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to come and speak here tonight. My name is Anaksani, and I'm a junior at Bernards. With the support of my brother, I started Rice Kids at a very young age when I found a passion for ensuring food stability to people living in poverty. So far, we have raised $100,000 and are providing a stable source of food daily to 1,000 kids. Providing these children with food security is to ensure that they stay in school instead of dropping out to work low-paying jobs that help them make just enough to put a little food on the table. We want to break the cycle of poverty by enabling education for these kids, and I want to continue and reach even more people with this cause.
If you want to consider making a donation, you can do so through cash, check, or our website. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Sawney, you have to stand up again. We have a proclamation for you for all the beautiful work you've been doing. So this is a resolution from the board honoring you tonight for your vision, your effort, and your unwavering dedication towards service in the community, locally, nationally, and abroad. Whereas the Somerset Hills Board of Education gives special honor and commendation to those who volunteer their time and their talents to help others. Whereas you are a part of the high school community and you serve as an inspiration to your peers and to the staff at the high school as well. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Somerset Hills Board of Education, that the members of the board hereby commend you for taking the initiative to create Rice Kids, as well as develop it into a large-scale organization, while spreading awareness about the issues of food insecurity, poverty, and lack of education for children around the globe. When the Somerset Hills Board of Education adjourns on this day, it does to honor your achievements. The board secretary is directed to have this resolution reflected in the permanent minutes of the Board of Education on this day. Congratulations. Very well done. That's yours.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And we have another outstanding student from the high school who's going to talk to us about some great things she's been doing in the community, and that is high school student Reagan Panic. Come on up.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming here today and offering me the opportunity to speak. My name is Reagan Panic and I'm a senior here at BHS. Since kindergarten, I have been a member of Girl Scout Troop 60318, and I've devoted a lot of my time and energy to community service through my Girl Scout experiences. During my freshman year of high school, I began working toward my Gold Award, the highest award a Girl Scout can earn. It requires at least 80 hours of service and includes a focus on sustainability. Throughout this project, my goal has been to give back to my community in an impactful way. The Gold Award process encourages Scouts to pick one specific root cause to work on, and I chose literacy for bilingual students. My goal and project was to increase the availability for bilingual books for emergent bilingual readers here at Bedwell. To support this, I donated and built a free lingual library for Bedwell, and I'm still seeking donations to help stock the library with bilingual books. Alongside my library, my goal has been to make reading fun for children of all ages. Because of this, I have organized for me and several other BHS students eager to volunteer to visit Bedwell to run book clubs in the bilingual kindergarten classroom within the next few weeks, and Ms. Roth has been kind enough to welcome us into her classroom. This project has been rewarding, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with Mr. Catelli, Mr. Kohlhofer, Mr. Wolf, Ms. Bruton, and Ms. Roth. Please feel free to stop by and check out the free lending library at Bedwell. If you would like to donate books for this library, please watch the Bedwell Friday folder for information on how you can donate. Thank you for all of your support.
Come on over. What an outstanding project. Both of you, just truly inspiring. We have a slide up, and you see your lending library with the principal, and such a great, motivating project. So the board has a resolution for your work, and their resolution honors you for the planning and coordinating efforts to bring resources and excitement to the bilingual youth here in Somerset Hills. Whereas the board gives special honor and commendation to those who volunteer their time and their talents to help others. Whereas Reagan Panic is part of the Bernards High School community and serves as an inspiration to her peers and the staff members at the school. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education, that the members of the board hereby commend you, Reagan, for your community service to the students at Bedwell Elementary School through fundraising, constructing a little free library, and leading a book club to motivate and support our youngest readers. When the Somerset Hills Board adjourns on this day, it does so in honor of the achievements earned by you, Reagan. The Board of Education Secretary is directed to have this resolution reflected in the permanent minutes of the board on this day. Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations to all the honorees, and thank you to the speakers tonight. I'm going to move on with the remainder of the superintendent's report. We have and I've shared this with the board in the past, some new faces in our business office. Mr. Ligori joined us last spring, as did Jody Smith, who is our business office assistant. Amy is in accounts payable, and Julianne is in payroll. We are in the process of our annual audit, and we have an auditing firm that we work closely with. They come on site and they review many of our practices and items from a fiscal perspective. They will continue to work with our auditors over the next few months, and they will continue to review all of our financials, and we will deliver a final report to the board as required. But certainly it's a lot of interesting work that doesn't necessarily get seen by the board on the day-to-day, so I wanted to point that out and to thank Mr. Ligori and his team for that work. Anna Carolina Borbola Minari is the Bernards High School Everyday Hero for this month, and she was recognized for September. She is an everyday hero who has been recognized for her infectious enthusiasm for all that she does. And you can see in her photograph, she's very happy all the time. She loves history. She's a student who can be depended on to lead class discussions and to share her thoughts. She's energetic in her engagement in instruction, and she relates all of her assignments to research and understanding more about the world around her. She can't wait, in all fairness, to leave the high school and to make a difference to people in need. She wants to get out into the community. She serves at communities in crisis and does beautiful work there. She advocates strongly for the Latin American community, and she participates in a lot of advocacy work outside of the walls here at the high school to support anti-drug campaigns. She makes positive she gives a positive energy here to her classmates and to the school, and it has capillaried out not only in our community, but far beyond Somerset Hills. So she is the high school's everyday hero for September. So congratulations to her. Yep. We recently had the Travis Manion Foundation who provided a message, if not me, then who, as the bedrock of our community service actions at Bernardsville Middle School. We have a community service advisor there, Melissa Kimmel, who takes up a good part of that leadership there. On September 12th, Gil Balazant, who is a United States Marine Corps veteran and a mentor at the Travis Manion Foundation, presented to over 80 fifth graders at the middle school. He talked about the fact that character matters and focusing on the character traits, the silent character traits of self-regulation, of kindness, and of perspective. So it was very well received at the middle school, and we're very fortunate that our fifth graders were able to be exposed to that. The high school recently had their student activities fair. We call it Come One, Come All. It was held on September 26th, and there were hundreds of students that came together to learn about the over 30 clubs that we have here at the high school. And it was a great opportunity, in the words of Dr. Nigel, for our students to learn about all of the amazing clubs and activities that we offer. The leaders of the clubs run this fair, and they do an outstanding job. They reach out to our new students and strongly encourage them to participate in new activities. And that is one thing that I would share to any rising ninth grader and rising fifth grader, is to be involved in your school at the middle school and at the high school level. Develop a group of friends and that are outside of your normal day-to-day. Peg Dolson is our media specialist, and she helped organize the activities fair as well. And there were a lot of folks there. Mia was there actively covering all of the different and various clubs that are recruiting its newest members. So great atmosphere and a great activity. The High School Girl Up Club has a motto, "This is your year." They have a passion for student well-being, and they have a passion for mental health. They have created a display case in the September showcase for positive messages and affirmations in our school community. They are also celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. They have partnered with the Multilingual Learner Club to create a display for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I thank them for their leadership in this work for sure. Our staff spotlight this month is Alex Haney. She's in her 3rd year of teaching as of September, and she's no longer new to the middle school, and she is very much ingrained into the fabric and the culture of the school. She joined us in 2023. She teaches our 7th grade math students and our 6th grade math students for our intervention and enrichment program. She is quoted as saying, "I love seeing students understand discounts." She loves teaching percentages, and she loves being able to kind of convey that out. So she's a very, very important part to our middle school. She does serve as the faculty representative to the Somerset Hills Education Foundation. So she volunteers her time several times a month with that group, and she's able to clearly articulate the needs and the desires for the Education Foundation. So she is our staff spotlight this month. Bedwell celebrated National Walk to School Day. They gathered at the library, and that took place on October 1st. And they walked more than a mile up to their school. It was a beautiful day, and it's a great tradition there at Bedwell. The 4th graders have taken over the morning announcements. They've been doing a terrific job, and they have been presenting and providing very critical information to all the students, and it's great to see them stepping out of their comfort zone in this area. The Bedwell hosted Hispanic Heritage Night in partnership with the Bedwell HSA for the entire Bedwell community. That took place on October 9th. There were multiple activities and artifacts donated by families and cultural crafts. The committee worked diligently for a significant amount of time to make sure that this event recognized a variety of aspects regarding Hispanic culture. They specifically highlighted Paraguayan and Guatemalan culture as well. We had a significant planning committee that included parents and staff members: Catherine Martin, Allison Labrera, Stephen Mirando, Tatiana Gutierrez, Sarah McShane, Debbie Rakoski, Megan Dooley, Teresa DeRoberts, Scott Wolf, Jasmine Akiyuola, and Michael Catelli. So thank you to all participants and all organizers. It was tremendous. And we even have some video of Mr. Wolf dancing, which was a big hit at the administrative meeting this week. We were the beneficiaries of an anonymous donation, and the donation was clear in what it was intended for, and it was intended for a new floor in the lower gym at the high school, and that work has been completed, and we are looking forward to having the students utilize it if they haven't already. Additionally, we continue to partner with Machio's Food Services for this current school year. And tomorrow is Jersey Fresh pasta and meatballs at the high school for anybody that's so inclined. It's always a big hit. Our marching band Mountaineers, as the high school report indicated, are doing tremendous. They're having a great start. They took 5th place in a recent competition. They are competing against schools that are twice their size, and just a lot of great things are happening. And those of us that work in the Old Cop building are very close with the marching band because they practice right outside, and it is awesome. Like once preseason starts up for the sports, they come out and they play well into the cold months. So it's awesome It's awesome to hear, and I've been brushing up on my Beatles tunes because they practice a few of them quite a lot, and they're doing very well with them. So a lot of great things with our marching band. Sports are up and running. Sophia, you're in another photo, right? Photo of senior night from field hockey, and we had a significant report from the gang here tonight. And by way of reminder, you can buy your tickets online for Arsenic and Old Lace, and we are looking forward to having them put their production on in a few weeks. And there's a host of ways to stay informed, which we've spoken about at great length in the past, and we're trying to create multiple lanes for folks to access information at their convenience and at their pleasure. No one person, it seems, accesses one particular way over another, so we like to create a lot of different lanes. We do have designs for a public vote on March 10th, 2026 for a referendum, and we have started going back to late August with promotion of these items, starting with small groups, and we're starting to ramp that work up. We have some presentations to local governing bodies. The Bernardsville Borough Council will present to on August 27th, and we will present to the Far Hills Borough Council on November 10th. And we will host big sessions here at the high school on November 25th, December 18th, and January 27th. So looking forward to that. All in all, we have about 50 or so events scheduled throughout to promote our desires for capital improvements throughout the district. One of the items on your agenda for discussion tonight through the Student Services Committee include the 2026-27 school calendar and the 27-28 school calendar. It is indeed that time of year, and I do thank the board and the committee for indulging me by creating multiple years of calendars so folks can plan out. Some particular features for consideration: the extended school year program, there's an increase there from 4 weeks to 5 weeks, and it's pre-announced inside of the framework of the calendar. We've moved new staff orientation from the last week of August to the week prior. That's a 3-day orientation session. First day for students is prior to Labor Day. Some of those features include advanced instructional time prior to standardized testing, which was certainly a driver with the board in those discussions. Back to school nights have been announced in advance for alignment with our sending district in Bedminster, and there is a winter break around President's Day for students. The 26-27 calendar has a extended school year program that starts on June 29th, and it runs through July 30th. It's 4 days per week. Student athletes will return between August 10th and August 17th, and that's a sports-specific calendar. Some sports are earlier, some sports are later. August 18th through the 20th is noted as staff orientation. Professional development is August 25th through the 27th, with a first day of school as August 31st. In 26-27, there's a June 11 graduation day. Spring recess is connected to Easter. Snow day givebacks are prior to and following spring recess, which allows for undisturbed instructional time in April, May, and June in advance of particular standardized testing. The 27-28 calendar is very similar. There's just some shifting. Extended school year runs on the 28th of June through the 29th of July. The students return for athletics August 9th through the 16th, with new staff orientation August 17th through the 19th. Staff development for the entirety of the staff is August 24th, 25th, and 26th, with a August 30th first day of school proposed for discussion. There's a June 8th graduation day. For the 27-28 school year, spring recess is not connected to Easter to provide more balance instructionally and from a calendar perspective throughout the year. We are seeing as no school being noted for Good Friday, And snow day givebacks for that year would be prior to Good Friday and on Easter Monday, if applicable. And that too has a reduction in schedule interruptions. So Ms. Santoro does chair the committee that oversees the schedule, and so I would imagine that would come up in discussion tonight. Lastly, we are in the process of assessing matters of school climate, and we're partnering with the Rutgers University School of Applied and Professional Psychology and the New Jersey School Climate Initiative to survey staff members and to survey students in grades 3 through 12 and to survey parents K to 12. The intention of this work is to have a broad understanding of what the baseline metrics are in the area on the topics of school climate. And we're looking forward to working through that project with our particular school climate teams and with the newly formed district climate team as well. This work will help to develop strategic plan work on behalf of the board that speaks directly to the needs that present themselves at the school level. And so we're looking forward to conducting that work. And Ms. Frenda, that does conclude the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going to ask for indulgence for our students and their parents for 1 second, because I know you typically skedaddle before we get into the business of the board. But every month we have recognitions, and we have students and staff that come here and are recognized. And it's always amazing. I just want to speak to all of you and say the level of impressive things that you're doing, the level of engagement that you are showing in the work, not just in your classrooms, but in your community, and for the referendum, being an advocate for referendum work. It is truly stunning, and I couldn't, on behalf of the board, I just want to say I don't think we could be more proud. And keep doing what you're doing, because it's amazing. So. So I will give you your leave if you do not want to stay and participate in the rest of the evening. But thank you so much. Okay. While they filter out, we are going to move into public comments for actionable agenda items. I just do want to say before we move there, I'm making it a practice before we open public comments at all to remind people that if you can't make it to meetings, if the timing doesn't work for you, we are accessible to you all the time via email. We want to hear from you. We want your feedback. We want to know what your thoughts are regarding matters in the district. You can reach us each individually by through the Board of Education page, but you can also always email Mr. Liguori, who's not only our business administrator, but our board secretary, and denote to him that you would like information disseminated to all of us, and he will be more than happy to send that to all of us, and we can let you know that we've received that for consideration. So I just encourage you to do that if you would like to engage with the board. So, public comments for actionable agenda items. We very much welcome input from the public. Public comments are welcome at this time on any actionable agenda item. That means specifically items that we will be voting on this evening that you see on your agenda. Towards the end of the meeting, there is a second public forum on any topic. Please state your name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, you will be interrupted and asked to pause to allow any other members of the public who would like to speak an opportunity to do so. An individual may return to the podium to complete their statement after everyone else has had an opportunity to speak for a total of 2 times at the podium. Please understand that our public forums are not structured as question and answer sessions, but are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. In instances where the board feels there is a misunderstanding or inaccuracy, the board president or superintendent may address the comment. In accordance with New Jersey statute, the board will not discuss matters regarding specific personnel. Public comments will be limited to 30 minutes. A reminder for all parties in attendance to remain respectful and that there should be no interaction between the speaker and the audience. No members of the audience should interfere with or interrupt the speaker's comments. Thank you in advance for your input. Mr. Liguori will be putting up his timer that will run to show you where you are in your 3 minutes. And also, Mr. Liguori, is there a sign-in sheet up there? I just want to make sure that people know. So if you come to the podium, please just sign in up there as well as stating your name and location. So if there's anyone that would like to make a comment on actionable agenda items, you can take the podium.
So my name is Krista Rudy. I live in Gladstone. I have a child in 11th grade, Gabrielle Rudy. And my comment is on the hiring of the women's varsity wrestling coach, Tyler Nadalny. Okay. My concern is that I'm not sure or questioning the qualifications for him to coach a varsity sport, especially at an elite level. This particularly affects my daughter since she is the only girl to wrestle on the team currently, unless other children are currently wrestling, other girls are wrestling on the team, which I don't think so. Tyler is a young, inexperienced coach who has himself only wrestled 1 year in college at a low level. He has only coached as an assistant coach with an assistant middle school coach. He's never coached a varsity sport, nor has he coached a women's varsity sport. So my concern is the efficacy of his coaching, how he is going to be cohesive with the team, especially with my daughter. We have not had the opportunity to meet him or reach out to him at this point, so these are my concerns before we move forward with hiring this coach. Okay, great.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody else for public comments on actionable agenda items? Nope. Okay, and can I get a motion to close public comment, please? Ms. Santoro, second. Ms. Cooper, thank you very much. Okay, then we will move on to the approval of the minutes. I would like to ask for a motion to approve the public input and action in executive meeting minutes for September 17th, 2025. Can I have a motion? Ms. Hoppy and Ms. Rye, thank you. And is there any discussion regarding the minutes? No? Okay, Mr. Liguori, roll call, please.
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Ms. Ballard,
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Gills,
Yes.
Mrs. Gomez,
I abstain.
Mrs. Hoppy, Mrs. Santoro,
Yes.
Mrs. Rye,
Yes.
and Mrs. Frenda.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we are going to move into the report of business operations. Mr. Baker left us this past month. I did my best to scribe for him. I don't know if you would like me to give that report or if you would. Okay. Okay, so the Business Operations Committee met on September 30th at 5:15 p.m. And we covered a variety of subjects. The first one was a demographic study refresh, and we're undertaking a demographic study refresh based on current planning board movement across the different municipalities, based on projects that have gone through and received approval for development. The next item that we discussed was an audit update. The auditors have completed their in-house work and very preliminary exit conferences have taken place, despite much more audit work to still be done. As outlined in as an action item in last year's audit, student activities accounts have been reconciled down to the penny. We are now planning and organizing to ensure that accounts all stay in good standing and reconcile appropriately. There is the possibility of creating a stipended position for custodian of student activities, as it is a great deal of work to oversee, and a centralized position may be very beneficial. We also discussed the future of our former athletic lights from Alcott Field. The Youth Mountaineers football program has expressed an interest in these lights for their use at practices on the grass fields. I believe an agreement will be drawn up for them to receive the donation of that equipment. We discussed spectrometer, diagnosis, and donation specific to our science departments. An offer has been made for free service of existing BHS Science Department spectrometers. In return for the service, the district would donate to the provider a spectrometer that has completely aged out of use for the district. So that is a wonderful reciprocal opportunity for the science department. We then went into discussing co-op pricing system through Ed Services of Morris County. We are considering joining their Ed Data program actually on the agenda for this evening, which would allow for a broader swath of purchasing power for the district and would centralize vendor ordering across the district at a savings. The cost to join would be $7,800 a year for licensing and to have access to their product. At an additional cost of $2,100 a year, we can have access to work materials and maintenance through Ed Services as well. This is outlined in action item number 15 on the agenda under business operations. Then we discussed the Director of Operations stipend. We discussed the stipend presently associated with this position for custodial foreman duties. The way the resolution was originally written terminated on June 30th, so action item number 14 under personnel will retroactively continue pay starting from July 1st, 2025. We touched on the BHS Math Lab, which will be back. It will be reinstated, and the total cost for stipends for the Math Lab is $5,000. We will be going out to RFP for our broker of record. We are getting ready to go out to RFP for our health benefits broker, a best practice we have been endeavoring upon for all of our service providers over the last several years. Our baseball, softball facilities, we will be replacing the softball field batting cage as it is not up to appropriate standard of use. We also discussed inquiries regarding disabled access to bleachers, seatings on the fields. It was indicated that no modifications are planned at this time and that there is a ramp that does allow for access. Donation of wrestling mats. The district will be accepting the donation of 2 gym floor mats for wrestling from the Westwood Regional School District at an estimated value of $1,500. For reference, this is reflected in action item number 13A under business operations. And that concludes the report of that committee for the month. So if I could ask at this time for a motion to approve action items number 1 through 19 on the agenda. Ms. Cooper? Second, Mr. Baker, and is there any discussion regarding business operations? Yes, Ms. Hoppy.
So when I was on the board a million
Is your mic on?
sorry, when I was on the board years ago for Gladstone, I was inquiring about the ramp to get down to the lower field. Can you, it didn't happen, obviously, you know, and I'm in special education, and I've always been an advocate. So can you explain, or someone explain what's happening there? I could ask my husband, but I just don't see him enough.
Well, as a board member, it's appropriate to ask us.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Sometimes husbands don't
Yeah.
respond to their wives. Yeah. So, at least this one doesn't. So we
It's really-
have a ramp that goes down from the back parking lot. There's some
Is
history.
the one that goes, I'm sorry, is it the one that like hugs the school, the side of the school?
So
We're
it,
talking about going to the,
so there's a
Baseball
drive,
field?
no, there's a driveway, not so much a ramp, but more of a driveway
okay, I know
by
that.
the softball field.
Okay,
Okay, so it's not perfect. We recognize that. We've also have examined in the far history, probably when you were on the board representing another town, of utilizing a particular piece of land in the lower fields. That project did require access from the shopping center.
no, that,
And that didn't go anywhere. And then that particular matter sat dormant. So the best we can do on behalf of the committee, if that's a desire, is for us to engage with our engineers on options. We've spoken a lot about the lower fields in the last 12 months,
Yeah.
even prior to you coming on, and it's tight back there.
yeah, like
Certainly.
how do you get to the baseball field?
So you.
So you go down the
So
stairs?
If there's somebody on a
And then
wheel.
you're like,
So to get to the baseball field,
Yeah.
if you're able, there's a stairway.
right, but if you're not.
If you're not
then
able,
right.
you would have to park in that back parking lot.
And go all the way,
Correct.
and roll your way if
That
you're
is
in a
correct.
wheelchair, which is kind of
That is correct.
an issue.
Mhm.
Okay. All right,
We can make a note of it, though.
yeah, it's something I would really like to see.
Mindy, I would
Yeah.
just add, and Bob, I know we were both on the board. I mean, that was definitely something that was very important
Yeah.
to the board as part of a project that we unfortunately could not proceed with. So it was definitely something that the board prioritized in that project, but unfortunately, we just couldn't, we couldn't do the project because of access.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. I just
Yeah.
figured I'd put my 2 cents in.
Is there an opportunity to just revisit for both the access for the ADA and for the fields itself at all?
Holly, I'm sorry, I can't hear you at all.
I'm sorry. I said, is there an opportunity for us to be able to revisit just for
ADA.
access as well as condition fields as well? Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, about a year ago, we did appoint a engineer of record that we can certainly engage them on, and then report back to the committee.
Thank you.
Anything else for discussion for business operations? Nope. Okay, Mr. LaGore, roll call, please.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery.
Yes.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Ms. Gills.
Yes.
Mrs. Gomez.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy.
Yes.
Mrs. Santoro. Mrs. Rye.
Yes.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Okay, and does anyone have anything for new or old business besides the item related to accessibility for business operations? No? Okay, then we will move on to the report of the curriculum committee. Ms. Cooper, please.
Curriculum Committee met Wednesday, October 1st for 2 hours and 15 minutes. All committee members were in attendance, and we were joined by Dr. Burchell, Dr. Butler, Dr. Edgerton, Mr. Schwartz, and Dr. Walker. First, Dr. Walker joined us to discuss funding options for students on free and reduced lunches who hope to receive dual enrollment credit for Seton Hall dual enrollment courses. Unlike the other institutions we partner with for our dual enrollment classes, Seton Hall does not offer reductions in fees for students receiving free or reduced lunches. To help these students participate in Seton Hall dual enrollment, Dr. Walker proposed using funding from the Virtual Academy budget to cover dual enrollment fees. Support for students enrolled in Virtual Academy courses would not be affected. The committee unanimously supported this proposition and thanked Dr. Walker for bringing this issue to our attention. Next, the committee agreed to offer a math lab at the high school that provides extra math support. Students who have questions or need extra help can just show up to the lab, which usually occurs right after school. The committee also supported offering the math lab before school, at least occasionally, to accommodate students who have after-school commitments. Since our last committee meeting, Dr. Edgerton and Mr. Schwartz attended training sessions on the new NJSLA assessments and joined us to discuss what they learned. First, Mr. Schwartz reviewed the hardware and technology requirements for the NJSLA testing. To be used for testing, all Chromebooks will need to run the latest operating system. Since the district is 1-to-1 for devices in K through 8, the district acquired 50 new devices to use at Bedwell and BMS in case extra devices are needed. At the high school, the district already has 280 devices for use in testing to accommodate the approximately 400 students who need devices for testing. The district has purchased 250 more devices, 50 of which will be set aside for emergencies. Mr. Schwartz also described his department's testing of the network to ensure that the district has the necessary bandwidth to accommodate the simultaneous testing of so many students. The network successfully passed all tests, indicating that it can support this connection, simultaneous connection of up to 3,000 devices. Dr. Edgerton then discussed updates regarding the NJSLA field testing that will be conducted at all 3 schools between October 27th and November 14th. All students in grade 4 through 11 will undergo ELA testing, and all students in grades 4 through 8 will undergo testing in math, as well as students enrolled in Math 8, Algebra 1, Geometry, or Algebra 2 in the 24-25 school year. Unlike the NJSLA test in the spring, the field test will not be adaptive. Instead, the results from this test will be used to sequence the questions by difficulty for future tests. Generally, students will undergo 60 minutes of testing in reading, 120 minutes of testing in writing, and 60 minutes of testing in math. The field results will not be used to measure student achievement or for school accountability, and no scores will be provided to students, parents, or the schools themselves. We also briefly discussed the benefits and limitations of moving to a 1-to-1 technology strategy at the high school. Generally, the committee agreed that this change is probably not needed at this time, but we can revisit it in the future. Next, in response to a board member's request, Dr. Butler repeated the district's updated practices related to the mechanisms for families to opt their children out of specific texts due to religious beliefs at Bedwell, which the committee discussed at our meeting in August. These mechanisms were also reported out during that month's public meeting and summarized in our board update. Just as a reminder to create these mechanisms, Dr. Butler met with our attorneys and worked with Bedwell administrators and teachers. The entire administrative team met with the board's attorney during the summer administrative retreat for an update on legal matters, including Mahmoud. A plan was developed and shared with teachers on their first day of professional development. Prior to receiving access to their students' schedules in August 2025, each family was required to acknowledge receipt of information regarding their ability to opt students out of instruction due to strongly held religious beliefs. And remember, all Genesis forms are synced with Google Translate. Since it was anticipated that Bedwell might have the largest number of parents who would use this opt-out procedure, Dr. Butler developed a plan for Bedwell teachers to send home advance notice of read-alouds, which might not be visible in the curriculum. This advance notice will be distributed through school newsletters and the weekly Friday folder. The form that was sent to all parents and guardians was shared with the board's attorney for review before it was distributed via Genesis. At our meeting, Dr. Butler reported that she had recently been to a county meeting where, at the time of the meeting, none of the schools at the meeting started the year with a plan in place, preferring instead to wait for more clarification and direction from the NJ Department of Education. Note that to date, the New Jersey Department of Education has provided no guidance related to this issue. The majority of the board fully supported and appreciated Dr. Butler's leadership in this area, as well as the district's efforts related to these procedures. However, one member believed that the district needed to be more proactive in identifying texts that might be concerning to some families. All other committee members disagreed. In fact, most of the committee was concerned that taking additional steps to accommodate the court's ruling might be associated with significant risks. First, we may no longer be compliant with state mandates regarding the teaching of diversity and inclusion. Second, additional steps may be too logistically challenging for our teachers and administrators, increasing the likelihood that books, including diverse characters and family types, might be removed from our schools, making it less likely that the district follows the core principle in child education of windows and mirrors. The majority of the committee strongly agreed with the need for children to see themselves and others in the books they read. Finally, the committee also briefly discussed a concern related to the high school social studies curriculum, which has since been resolved. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Cooper. And at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to approve action items number 1 through 5 on the agenda. Ms. Cooper, and a second, Ms. Santoro, and any discussion related to curriculum. Yes, Ms. Gills.
Okay, I just have to go through some of these, the report by Nicole. It says prior to receiving access to their students' schedules in August 25, each family was required to acknowledge receipt through Genesis, through Friday folders. My question is, what is meant by advance notice will be distributed through school newsletters and the weekly Friday folder? Because, well, first of all, just to address this quickly, since it was anticipated that Bedwell might have the largest number of parents, it would only apply to Bedwell because it's just elementary. So it's K through 5 in our district, K through 4. Those are the only grades affected by Mahmoud v. Taylor. What do you mean by newsletters? Like,
all of the Bedwell teachers send home, like the grade level teachers, and I have to give a shout out because we have so many of them here. And I have to give another shout out because all of this was done again prior to the start of the school year, and our teachers did not know about any of this until their first day of PD, and they got all of this together. So I applaud them for that. They send newsletters home to the parents in their class. They don't all send the same type of things home because they really communicate with their families to see what is the best means of communication. Some of them send things home via email. Some send home print copies. Some send home both. So it's really a two-way communication between teachers and the families in their classroom. For the related arts teachers, say the media specialist, who is doing read-alouds with different classes and is really servicing the entire school, she does not do newsletters to individual families. Her information about the books that she's going to be reading are sent out via the Friday folder. which is their official means of communication.
Okay, so if Miss Smith is teaching a lesson on Wednesday and it brings in, it's not just LGBTQ+, it's other materials as well, will she send a letter home saying on Wednesday, we are reading the story, we are doing this lesson,
What they are
and with an
doing,
opt-out?
what they are doing is, first of all, anything that's in our curriculum is visible to all at all times. The read-alouds that are being sent home are the things that are not part of the curriculum, but are part of what teachers do on a daily basis. They are being sent home in advance, and it might look a little bit differently. There's not just a one way, like a one answer. For example, a third grade teacher, and anyone who wants to correct me out there, you can. A third grade teacher may be going into the narrative unit of study in reading. So they would then send home at the beginning of the unit, these are the read-alouds that I will be doing as we enter this area of study. It may look a little bit different in, some teachers may say, you know, in the next 2 weeks, these are the books that we're going to be reading. And then parents have an opportunity to say, you know, I'd like my child excused from that book.
Okay, because the understanding I had is each and every time. So the Supreme Court says whenever, which translates into each and every time. You have to inform the parents.
And parents are being informed
Right, but not like,
anytime
hey,
a
this
book
is
is
what
going
we're
to be read.
covering this month. It would have to be, if it's a monthly thing, then I would assume you would have to be very detailed on what day lessons are being taught or stories are being read.
Anytime they have a problem with any kind of a book that's being read, the teacher would keep track of, I'm reading that on Wednesday.
Right, so they give the parents notification.
They may not say to a parent, this book is being read on Wednesday.
That's what
they're going to say, we're going to be reading these books. If you have an objection to the book, your child can then exit during that time.
Okay, my understanding is that it's each and every time, so it's a weekly thing? Monthly?
I don't feel the justices were that specific.
Yeah, whenever translates into each and every time.
And each time a book is going to be read, you know, if a book is going to be read in a classroom, parents know that.
And they know the date.
Well, they don't need to know the date because.
Yes, they do. That's what the Supreme Court says, and I know no one agrees with me, but six
I think
Supreme Court justices do.
if a book is going to be read and a child is not there for that book, then they will be taken out of the class for that time.
But do you get parental notification? I don't want my child in this lesson.
Yes, yes.
But you're not just solely relying on the teacher's knowledge of it, because that's a lot to put on them.
Parents are asked to send something to the teacher and the principal if a book that's going to be read is something that they do not want their child exposed to.
Okay, I'm still confused on that, because if you're sending out a monthly newsletter, which is what it is, right? A monthly newsletter?
Some of them are doing monthly, some of them are doing weekly. They're not all doing one thing.
Okay.
They're communicating with their classes in the way that works for their classroom.
Well, that's why I think we should, I know we should have a policy. The Supreme Court put it on the board to do this, not the administration through a procedure.
And there may be a policy at some point, but what we did was, and I think we were really proactive, policies take a while. Policies go through 2 readings. What we did was make sure that what the justices wanted done was done prior to the start of the school year, so that parents have that right as soon as school started.
But they specifically say the board, not administration.
Well, you would have never, the board would have never had anything in place.
Right, so when I brought it up last month, I was told, no, it's just, you know, it was in Genesis, the parents clicked on it. It's
Well, I
in
mean, we have a
Friday
very
Forward.
detailed practice in place.
That's not what the Supreme Court is saying that we must do. We must form, it's saying the board, so we must form a policy. Administration has nothing to do with it, and I understand you kind of had to get a heads up on that, because we couldn't have done a policy in August that quickly. But I have more notes on this.
Can I just,
Sure.
Dr. Brochel, could you possibly weigh in on the administrative versus board policy aspect and the way that administration acts on behalf of the board very regularly in implementation, and policy often follows, as was most recently done with our cell phone procedures?
So essentially, absent any policy, the administration does act on behalf of the board in many, many different ways. I think Mahmoud Taylor is an example of us interjecting ourselves into the process, so we could be in alignment with the Supreme Court justices.
Temporarily, you mean? Because eventually it falls on the board.
So at this point, what we did was we developed procedures. If those procedures change in the future, then they change in the future. But we did assert that authority to outline the procedures that we wanted to follow, that we felt were inconsistent, that we felt were consistent with the ruling. We vetted that out with legal counsel, who were in full agreement with our approach. And candidly, I feel like the work that was done, in this area by the administration was of benefit to the board, was of benefit to the families that wanted to have that option, and availed them to those opportunities. In the event that the board is dissatisfied with our approach, I would ask that they discuss it with me in committee.
Okay, it's not that we're unhappy or I'm unhappy, it's that that's not what we were instructed to do. And you talk a lot about lanes.
I do.
And the Supreme Court says the board. So that's our lane. And I understand why you felt the need to make a procedure, because we couldn't do a policy that quickly. But when I brought it up last month, I was met with people yelling at me and saying it's on Genesis and it's on the Friday folder, and that's not what they are talking about. They mean each and every time. A storybook, a lesson that is religious parents find, I don't want to say offensive because it's not offensive, but I guess to them it's offensive, or outside of their religious beliefs. We have to let them know.
Can I just interrupt?
Well,
you
I
for
think
one
that for the moment of clarity here, the administration was inquired extensively by the committee, in committee about this process. I felt like we answered the inquiries from the committee satisfactorily and comprehensively. Absent any further policy, this is what we intend to follow. I feel like we're splitting hairs because there's a comprehensive effort by the educators here to fully inform the families, and I'm concerned that there's a narrative that's inconsistent with that.
No, you're putting words in my mouth. I never put any blame on the teachers. They have a lot on their plates. No blame on the teachers. That's an unfair assumption.
No, I certainly don't want to put words into your mouth, but if we're having this discussion here, this is how it's being translated, at my level.
Okay, well, let me just continue that because I just can't.
Can I?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to lose this one thought. You mentioned something about any book that might be objectionable. We have, I am grateful that we have a community that is really filled with religious diversity. We could never assume what someone may or may not object to. That was one of the reasons that we said any book that's going to be read, we will tell parents about, because I would never presume to ask our teachers or anyone to say, I think people might think this might be objectionable. That's why we're telling them every book that's being read.
Well, they were pretty specific with what books.
We don't have any of the books in Mahmoud. Those 9 books are not in our library. They are not in our curriculum. So
We have LGBTQ books for.
I'm talking about the 9 books that were in the Mahmoud decision.
Yes, but it also any book that is in that topic. They're not just speaking about those 9 books.
I would not presume to think that, are you suggesting that anytime a book that has maybe a gay character?
I'm not suggesting it, the Supreme Court.
And that's why
ruled on
we're sending all books home.
Yeah,
Parents
so
need
we
to make their own
be-
decisions.
We need to be in compliance when the Supreme Court, it doesn't matter that it emanated from one state. Once it's ruled on by the Supreme Court, it's the law of the land.
And I feel confident we're in
And
compliance.
Well, and I think
I think we're in violation of that right now, and I can even point out.
Hold on a moment. I just want to, I know that other people want to weigh in, but Ms. Gills was recognized to speak, so she has more.
I can wait, I can wait if she wants to.
No,
You want to go ahead, Ms. Hoppe?
Oh,
Go ahead,
okay.
Ms. Hoppe. You wanted to speak? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I know that we have a lawyer here. Welcome. I know that there's going to be a lot of stuff in the newspaper about whether or not we're following policy, which is something that Bernard takes very seriously. I'm on the curriculum meeting. I did discuss this with everyone. I think there might be some misunderstanding with the narrative that's been going around, because I'm hearing a lot from a lot of different people too. So maybe you can tell us what the policy is that was handed down from the Supreme Court so the public knows what it is, and what is done from other school districts and to follow this, and how I feel that we're going above and beyond in developing policies to help parents make decisions as to, you know, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate for their child to participate in, which is, you know, as an educator, that's a big deal, you know? So, anyway.
So I just want to understand Ms. Gill's point in terms of when you say, I think you used the word whenever in the.
They use the word.
Well, you're saying that they use the word whenever, and I want to understand what it is that you're trying to say, because because in terms of how other districts are doing it, this is very new, right? This happened in June, so school just started, and so we don't necessarily know how a bunch of other schools are doing it, how they're handling it. I think that Somerset Hills is handling it the best way that they understand how. So if you can just explain to me the word, can you read to me that portion, or?
1 second. I gotta find that paper. At our September 17th meeting, I raised the question of how this district would comply with the Supreme Court June 27th decision in Mahmood v. Taylor. No procedure was presented, no motion was made, and no direction was given. Yet 3 days later, a district-wide letter went out announcing a new plan, invoking our committees, and claiming to act on behalf of the board. That action was never authorized, and that letter is riddled with errors, legal, procedural, and factual. Error number 1, the letter limits notice to read-alouds, not visible in the curriculum. Quote, the Supreme Court's injunction says the board must give notice whenever one of the books in question or any other similar book is to be used in any way, and allow them to have their children excused from that instruction. Narrowing in any way places this district out of compliance with a federal injunction. Error number 2, the letter relies on parents' acknowledgement of an annual Genesis form. The court's word was whenever. That means each time a covered work is used. A one-time blanket form does not meet the standard, so the Genesis thing would not pass muster. Error number 3, the letter omits the phrase, any other similar book. The court deliberately extended its injunction beyond the specific titles named in the case. Leaving that out misstates the scope of the ruling. Error number 4, the letter describes a plan for teachers that was never reviewed or approved by this board. Under NJSA 11-1C, only the board may make, amend, and repeal rules for the government and management of the public schools. No administrator may substitute a plan for
Ms. Gills, I'm just
policy.
going to interrupt for 1 second. Do you have the actual section of the Supreme Court ruling that you're
I
referencing?
have
Because
what-
that's what.
No, I have what I.
No, but Ms. Gills, I'm actually looking for, because you're quoting something that the Supreme Court said, so I was looking for the actual wording that the Supreme Court used in order to decipher.
Well, I'll just finish reading this. Maybe it'll answer that. Error number 5. The letter cites the August Curriculum Committee as a source of direction that committees are advisory only. I sit on both policy and curriculum. Neither committee ever reviewed or approved this. And the New Jersey School Boards Association states in best practices for board policy committees. The main function of the policy committee is to make recommendations to the full board for action on policy. Ultimately, new or changed policies requires an affirmative vote of the board. Error number 6, the letter claims that procedures are being carried out on behalf of the board. That inverts the chain of authority. Under NJSA 18A:17-20, the superintendent acts under rules and regulations prescribed by the state board and as directed by the board. The board directs, the superintendent implements. Error number 7, the letter tells families the district must await NJDOE guidance before acting. That is wrong. A Supreme Court injunction is binding the moment it is issued. The NJDOE cannot delay or dilute federal law. Error 8, the superintendent has also said we should wait and see how the case unfolds. The case has already unfolded. It's final. The duty to comply is immediate. And underlying every one of these errors is the same point. The Supreme Court assigned this duty to the board. The very first word of the injunction is board, not superintendent, not principal, not administration. The board must notify, the board must allow, and the board must act. So I have a simple question. Who reviewed this letter before it was issued? If no one on this board saw it, if no vote was taken, then a single administrator just spoke for a governing body without authority. Therefore, I move that this board formally rescind the superintendent's September 20th letter and adopt the following amendment to bring our district into full legal compliance. Amendment, parental notice and opt-out procedure pursuant to Mahmood v. Taylor.
Making an amendment, we have an open motion right now, so we're not going to enter in another, we're not going to open another motion. We have an open motion right now, so if you're talking about introducing another motion, that has to wait until we finish.
I don't think that's what I'm doing, but you can stop me if that's what you think I'm doing.
Well, Ms. Gills, it seems as if that's what you were trying to do. I was looking for specific language from the Supreme Court that states the whenever, because it seems as if you have taken the Supreme Court language and created your own conjecture, so that's why I was
No, not
asking.
my own
Wait,
conjecture.
Ms. Gills, I'm trying to understand what you're parsing out from the Supreme Court. That's why I wanted to know what the Supreme Court's language was, not necessarily your.
I don't have the case
Okay,
in front
but-
of me.
so that's-
I have
so-
dissected that case.
But see, that's the thing. You have dissected it, so I'm trying to find out what the language that you're talking about. I will look for that language, the whenever, and I will have to get back to you.
Whenever.
Whenever.
It is.
Right? What did I?
Whatever, I think.
I said whenever.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying whenever. So I'm gonna find that language, and then if you can just give me a little bit of time, but I think that there are some others that would like to speak, unless,
can I-
if you're not, only if you're done, or if you're
Yeah,
not
I
done,
would like to
continue.
finish.
May I just interject that there was no letter sent to parents on September 20th?
Yeah, no, there was a
It
board
was sent to the
update.
board.
So the September 20th wasn't,
Oh, it didn't go to the parents?
no, and I took an effort to clarify that
Thank you, because I thought it did.
to you.
He did mention that, and just, can I jump in too? Or is you're still?
No, go
I just
ahead,
wanna make
Nicole,
sure
go ahead,
she's
it's
done.
fine.
Are you, I don't want to cut
No,
you
no,
off, so.
don't worry, go ahead.
So so this is an email, just to fill in the board, we had discussed this extensively at our meeting. She's reading from, I think, majority from an email that you had sent the committee following the meeting. Couple things. We discussed this procedure extensively in our August meeting, which you were present.
Yeah.
So number one, that you said that we never discussed it before. We had discussed it and you were there. and I reported it out in our August meeting.
I think I said we didn't give permit, we didn't,
No, you said we did, we
Okay,
said that we
then I
didn't
was
discuss it, so that
incorrect.
is incorrect. But more than, I don't want to debate interpretations of Mood versus Taylor, but I would like just to make a few points. First, I'd like to commend Dr. Butler and the administration for taking such a proactive approach to developing such a robust mechanism for addressing its potential implications on the advice of our paid experts in educational law. I applaud them for their leadership in this area. And remember, we're taking steps that no other district in the area has taken to ensure adherence to the ruling. Through this mechanism, we can recommit to public education's mission of serving all of our students, including those whose families have deeply held religious beliefs that may object to some elements of our curriculum, while ensuring that students who have access to materials that affect diverse identities within our district. Remember, it's critical that students have the opportunity to see both themselves and others in the materials they read. The vast majority of this committee fully supports following the guidance of our legal counsel, whose advice is grounded in law and tailored to the district's responsibilities under New Jersey statutes. It would be inappropriate and risky to substitute that expertise with the interpretations of an individual board member. Our collective commitment to follow our counsel's recommendations ensure that the district remains compliant and focused on what truly matters, our students.
okay, Nicole, you understand this is not my interpretation.
No, it seems to be.
These are words that come from the Supreme Court. It was a 6-3 split. It was written by Justice Alito with also Justice Thomas. Dissenting, I think, was maybe Sotomayor. I can't remember the dissenting opinion. But let me just go through some of the things you said. Okay? You talked about Genesis. It is not allowed a blanket notification like that just through Genesis. That is disallowed by the Supreme
So
Court.
the Supreme Court says no Genesis.
No blanket notification,
Okay.
not no Genesis. They wouldn't, I don't think they would even know about Genesis.
Exactly, yeah.
But no blanket notification. So-
I don't think the Supreme Court actually said no
Yes,
blanket
no blanket
notification.
notification.
I'm in the opinion right
Okay.
now, and I don't see.
You're reading the whole case right now?
I'm can search
Right,
it.
I
It's
know you can
searchable.
search it,
Yeah,
but to
so
read it and like,
I'm literally searching
Okay.
no blanket, and it's saying 0, 0.
okay, I think you need to like maybe
No,
look
I'm
at the whole case.
I'm looking at the slip
Okay.
opinion right now.
Whatever.
Okay.
No blanket notification. Note here, you wrote that
Do you
the
have
end-
it in? Do you have?
I
the
don't
case?
have that.
Okay, so
I brought my notes. NJDOE has provided no guidance. We do not need guidance from the NJDOE. This is coming from the Supreme Court of the United States. It supersedes anything. Although one member believed the district needed to be more proactive, that one member was me, along with 6 Supreme Court justices, including Justice Roberts. First, we may no longer be compliant with state mandates regarding diversity and inclusion. The Supreme Court rulings supersede state laws. So if a state law
Ms. Gills,
conflicts with
can I
a,
ask you what it is you are exactly looking for?
we need to make a policy.
Okay,
the
so
board.
so you want the board to make a policy?
I don't want the board to make a policy.
I'm saying, based on everything that you've read, you're saying that the Supreme Court has said that the board should make a policy.
They name specifically
And
the
so-
board.
Okay, and so a policy cannot be created tonight,
Right, I
right?
understand that, but
So,
when-
so in this particular moment, I'm asking you, what is it that you're looking to do?
that we start working on a policy because
Okay.
we're not in compliance. We definitely are not in compliance. It falls on the board.
Okay, so my question.
No, that's not my opinion.
So
Board is in there.
my question is, right now, in this present moment, what are you asking the board to do?
That we start forming a policy.
In this present moment?
Well, I'm putting it in the bucket.
Okay,
That we talk about it,
okay.
but I was shut down at that last meeting with 3 people yelling at me
Okay,
about a Supreme Court ruling I have nothing to do with. I didn't rule on this, but we need to be compliant. And when I read things like we have to ask the NJDOE for guidance, no, we don't. And
I don't
when
think
it says if it conflicts with state law, the Supreme Court supersedes state law when there's a conflict. I mean, if we were in 1861, most of you would be fighting for the Confederacy, thinking that state supersedes. Well, yes.
Miss Gills,
I'm sorry.
Miss Gills.
Everyone,
I'm sorry, that was the
there's no,
basis-
everybody, for
That was
decorum
the-
of the meeting, there's
That
no.
was the basis of the Civil War, the state rights
I-
over
can-
federal.
So Miss Gills.
But can I finish
I'd like to
that
call the
statement?
question.
The state rights.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay, Ms. Santoro is calling a point of order. What is your point of order?
I want to bring it back to the decision on the agenda this evening in curriculum that we're voting.
Yes, because we're still arguing about state laws, but when a
Okay,
federal
well, wait a minute.
law-
Ruling has to.
I can't finish that
That's
thought.
because there's a point of order on the table, and that goes directly to the chair in conference with the attorney. All discussion stops when a point of order is made. So a point of order is made, the chair has to give a ruling on the point of order. That is done in conjunction with the attorney that is sitting next to me. So Ms. Santoro is asking for a point of order.
Discussion to what our agenda items are for curriculum.
But it is in curriculum. It's
You're
mentioned
speaking
in the
about
report.
the Civil War, and I don't think that's a.
No, but the Civil War was about state rights over federal rights.
But that's
So that's not the-
That was
that's
the
not the
basis
dis-
of the
that's-
Civil War.
Ms. Gills, that's
And
not the
we're still
discussion
here
for tonight.
talking about, does it conflict with state
Okay,
laws?
so we're-
I
we
would
have to
like to
finish
make,
this.
I would like
Okay.
to make.
If it does conflict
Excuse, there is a
with state
point of,
laws-
Ms. Gills, you have to
Gills.
stop speaking. There is a point of order on the table, and nobody else can engage in discussion until the point of order is ruled on. So in conference with the attorney right now, she is trying to explain that speaking about states' rights versus federal rights, the Confederacy, that none of that has to do with matters before the board. As the chair, and I am going to look to Megan to confirm, because I will not just unilaterally make this assertion, but that those matters do not pertain to any of our present curriculum discussions, and I would like to rule that that discussion needs to come to an end.
But it's in the curriculum report.
But matters related to the Confederacy and states' rights are not in the curriculum report.
Okay, but state rights is mentioned. We have to see if it doesn't conflict, and it makes no difference
No,
if it conflicts. The federal law.
Okay, I am.
supersedes.
Can I clarify something?
Yes.
I want to bring the discussion to curriculum curricular items that are on our agenda for this evening.
So the agenda is showing action items 1 through 5.
Yes. And that is a reasonable request.
I mean, I can address it here, or I can address it as a public citizen, private citizen, if you prefer.
You are welcome, if at some point you would like to make a statement as a member of the public, that is
Because we are
absolutely.
in violation of this ruling,
Okay,
and no one
Okay.
seems worried
So
about
Ms.
it.
Gills, it's not that nobody is worried about it. Everybody is working very hard to make sure that we are in compliance. The question that I have posed to you right now is, what do you want to do about it tonight? There's nothing that can be done about it tonight, and a point of order has been made, so we're trying to go back to the agenda so that we can finish the business that's here.
Okay, I want it discussed at the next committee meeting without screaming, without yelling, without saying that the state's laws
okay,
supersede.
we don't need,
Okay, I don't even know why.
That is going to go on, which I would believe would be the policy agenda.
yes.
I would like to request that our attorneys be present for discussion during that committee meeting.
I would also like to say that is not the that's the committee, curriculum committee recommends against moving this to the policy committee.
I'm sorry, can you say that
The
again?
curriculum committee recommends against moving this to the policy committee for discussion.
So you want to keep it in curriculum even?
No, we don't, we've already discussed it at 2 different meetings. I think the majority of the committee is
I would also like to make a clarifying point here. And the full board can weigh in on this, as the majority is who makes these recommendations, is we have not, to the point that Megan has made many times, there's a Supreme Court ruling, but legal entities are still trying to catch up with the implications and implementation in New Jersey schools. We employ a legal policy writing firm They are still working to understand the implications of this ruling and how to implement proper policy and develop a framework. So for us as lay people, none of us who have argued before the Supreme Court, the rest of us, except maybe Ms. Ballard, are not admitted to the bar. None of us have that level of understanding to start engaging in policy writing that will be in the type of compliance that you are asserting with the Supreme Court ruling. So until the entities that we employ give us the framework for how they interpret, which is this is entire function and job, I do not see any purpose in this going to the policy committee until we receive that information, because there is no one sitting at this table that is qualified to write that policy right now.
Well, we get the policies from Strauss-Esme.
Which has not been developed yet.
And then we tailor
It hasn't been developed yet, that's my point. They have not put anything out. There is no framework, there is no structure. Everybody is still working to catch up. This came out in June. Bush immediately put out their guidance as far as that Supreme Court ruling went. Our district went so far as to immediately implement their suggestions. And to clarify further, the administration almost monthly, weekly, puts processes out on behalf of the board. The board does develop policy, but the administration implements processes all the time. And yes, we are the policy making body, but they act on our behalf with great regularity, and they have done so in an expeditious, comprehensive manner. And I would like to put it to the board, would they like it to go back to policy before we receive legal framework from Strauss-Esme?
My recommendation to the board is to understand that I interact often, multiple times a week with your policy advisors, and I will assure you that when they release something, that certainly the entirety of the board will be availed to that.
Are we pushing for it, though? Are we asking Strauss-Esme for a policy
So I have
on
a
this?
unique way of speaking with folks down there, and I would say yes, I've been clear.
Okay.
They've been clear as well on their position on where they are. And the best I can say to you and the entirety of the board is that they are actively working on it.
Okay, and another point, I just wanted to, like, when this is written that says we have to consult with NJDOE or see if it conflicts with state law, it makes no matter when it comes from the Supreme Court. We have to implement it, even if it conflicts with the state law. And a lot on this board don't like that. They want to go with state law over federal. That's not how it works. It's the supremacy clause. Federal supersedes state.
Okay,
if there's a conflict.
we're wandering into territory again that has nothing.
Well, it's mentioned in the report.
So we're wandering into territory again that has nothing to do with the matters before us. Mr. Baker, I think I heard something.
I'd like to call the question, please.
Okay, Mr. Baker has asked to call the question. Can I get a second on that? Ms. Rye, and I'm going to need roll call on that. Mr. LaGuardia.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery.
Yes.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Ms. Gills.
Yes.
Ms. Gomez.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy. Mrs. Santoro.
Yes.
Mrs. Rye.
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So that ends discussion related to the policy and personnel, policy.
I'm very sorry. I just wanted to say before we got into
What-
this. Please, I just wanted to say
You can't,
thank
it's
you.
Holly, it's a procedural, it's a Roberts Rules procedural thing. There can't be any more discussion related to the curriculum matter. I said policy because we were yapping about policy, but it's actually the curriculum. So the question has been voted on, and now we need to take roll call for the open motion for curriculum, please.
On action items 1 through 5.
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery.
Yes.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Ms. Gills.
Yes.
Mrs. Gomez.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy.
Yes.
Mrs. Santoro. Mrs. Rye.
Yes.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
And Mrs. Frenda.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Personnel. Ms. Ballard.
Thank you, Ms. Frenda. The Personnel Committee met on September 30th. The entire committee was in attendance. The meeting began at approximately 6:15 p.m. Some of the issues that we discussed have already been covered, so I'll just briefly run through them. The math lab is being reinstated, as previously discussed. We went over pending leave of absence requests. We discussed the Director of Operations stipend for the role of custodial foreman. Again, this has been addressed, but the story is the stipend was never continued in the budget, so this is a correction. Dr. Brochel proposed a change in the procedure for the evaluation of the superintendent of schools. Dr. Brochel will give us updates in October and January in executive session, and indeed, that happened. All relevant info will be uploaded to the school board site early, which would give board members 5 weeks to complete the evaluation. The goal for us is to eliminate the need for special meetings. A committee member mentioned the possibility of using alternative evaluations, and that is something that we can investigate. The only requirement of this particular statute is that the evaluation will be completed by June 30th, 2025. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Then at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to approve action items number 1 through 18 on the agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Ballard, and second, Mr. Baker, and is there any discussion related to personnel?
Can I ask something?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
So personnel is like, I'm just regarding the question about the code.
We can't discuss specific matters related to personnel. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Okay, then Mr. Liguori, roll call, please.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Ms. Gills.
Yes.
Mrs. Gomez.
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy. Mrs. Santoro. Mrs. Rye.
Yes.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery.
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and my apologies, things got a little jangled. I did not ask for old and new business for curriculum, so at this time, I would ask if anybody has any items for old or new business for curriculum and/or personnel for future agendas. Yes.
Just regarding the math lab, this has been a conversation with Bedminster, right? That they are always concerned that we have different criteria and placement. So my question is, in the math lab, for example, one is how do they communicate to the students or parents? And if it's only for support, like for people that are behind, or if someone was to advance, like if there, someone that says, oh, you know what, I would like to go to geometry or to any other thing. Is that the possibility?
It's really designed for students who are struggling in whatever class they are currently taking. So if it's something that they are, or not even just struggling, but have questions about the current course that they're taking, not like a course that they would like to take that they're trying to get ready for.
Thank you.
It's extra help.
Yes.
Okay, and is there anything new or old for personnel?
But wait, didn't Holly want to say something for curriculum?
If it's not new or old, but if she wants to add something for new or old business, but the discussion for curriculum
Right,
was.
I think she wanted to say something.
So yes, if it is something for new or old business, that's where we are right now. Okay. Oh, you can say thank you.
Thanks. I just, I just wanted to say, without the meeting going by, to say thank you to Dr. Butler and the administration, the teachers, for working so hard on the policy. I think it's really important what was stated about, and I will just read it, making it less likely that the district follows the core principle on childhood education of windows and mirrors. Children must be able to see themselves and others in the books they read.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anything else for new or old business? Nope. Okay, then policy, take it away.
All right. Regulation discussion of policy 5460, high school graduation, was carried to the next meeting. Regulations on second reading was 5516, which is the use of electronic communication devices. A health concern was raised in the photels. All the phones in and out seems like they make it dirty, spread germs, maybe wipes could be provided. 5511, dress and grooming. Concern was raised once again about uneven application of regulation between girls and boys. Concern also raised about possible pushback from parents. It was noted that now the handbooks and the regulations match. We followed that with the board bylaw discussion. The option of changing from our current operation as a board of committees to a committee of the whole was presented. This is an extension of last month's discussion of how board meetings are working for board members. Committee of the whole would involve elimination of individual committees and add a second public meeting. All the committee work would be done in public with all the members present. The committee of the whole meeting work session would be held in public. The board would work their way through every committee. Typically, no votes are held. Voting would take place in the regular public meeting. Dr. Brochel offered the following. Adult volunteers have a shelf life. As it is, the committees are robust and comprehensive. Administration can dive in. Meetings and discussions can be in-depth. As for the committee of the whole, committees meet one after another. Interest and discussions can wane after several committee meetings. By necessity, committee meetings are shorter on the committee of the whole. Plus is that everyone hears the same messages and engaged at the same time. Possible results, members know less, administration may provide less information, won't be as robust, may not have time to provide appropriate context. Work sessions in public, committees typically meet for 1 hour each, so we're talking about a long session. Currently, our committee structure is strong, committee reports are thorough and well done. Dr. Brochel concluded that not one is not better than the other, they are just different. The committee discussed this. These are the following points that were raised. This could help work stay focused without us drifting into administrative issues. Maybe everyone in the board in one room has value. Sometimes we need to sit through information twice. May move faster, may not be able to address all issues, may keep us from taking a deep dive, would lose the multi-layered approach within the committee. The committee recommends a discussion by the wider board at some point. We then moved on to the civility policy. We looked at a modified policy by Strauss Esme, provided by Dr. Brochel, only to kickstart the process. He did not weigh in as it is a board governance matter, so the onus is on the board to create policy. We discussed, sorry, hold on page. How do we conduct ourselves and what are our expectations for the meeting? And these are some of the points. Speaking from an operational perspective, adhering to proper procedure and protocol, holding every individual accountable. The board meetings in public are governed by parliamentary procedure, but currently there is no equivalent mechanism in committee meetings. Apply our board norms in committee. Stay focused on board topics. Don't put admins in position of managing, acting as referee for board meetings, becomes tenuous for administration. Better to manage personal struggles and differentiate between that and board members, public officials. Issue of perception. We have a collective responsibility to monitor each other, to be in agreement and abide with each other. No lies, no threats. Importance of words, being extraordinarily careful of words that may have a loaded meaning. And we left with the question, is there a structured way to handle those things? And this discussion will have to be continued. We moved on once again to policy 5756. As we do not conduct new committee business via email, some issues raised in an email after the last meeting remain to be addressed. There was a discussion about transitioning. There seemed to be confusion as to the role of doctors associated with the school district and interactions with students. Dr. Brochel stated multiple times and with great clarity that there is never a circumstance in which transitioning would be suggested or facilitated. It does not and would never happen. The role of the district is to create healthy and safe environment for folks who identify as transgender. The school is guided by a memorandum of agreement with the police department, starting with in-house professionals before calling home, a need to stabilize before engaging other parties. The policy is followed to a T. Again, there is no facilitation of conversations between a child and a medical doctor. If a student confides in an adult, they are asked questions such as, what facilities do you want to use? Are your friends, teachers, parents aware? If they don't want to tell their parents, the student is advised to think about talking to their parents. If a student confides in an adult and says they are okay, there is no further action taken. Flexibility is part of the policy. The goal is to get all parties to work from a safe place. Guidance is based on the policy, which is based on the New Jersey law against discrimination. The guidance is informed from the law. The policy is informed from the guidance. SHSD follows the law, SHSD follows the policy. Sylvia expressed her view that she believes it is dishonest not to share this information with a parent. She also suggested that a template be created for distinguishing between elementary, middle school, and high school students, as there are many variables between age groups. There are no such carve-outs in the law against discrimination. These changes would effectively make SHSD a district that ignores the LAD. Sylvia also asked how students who utilize chosen names over legal names appear in Genesis. Dr. Brochel clarified that discussion further in a follow-up email. Some of the key points, as well as information in reference to parental considerations, are shared here. Parental considerations. The following are circumstances where the parents will know about their children's transgender status: when the child discloses it to a parent, when parents lock into Genesis if the child has requested to be referred to by a different name at school, when a child who is transgender and is subject to a risk assessment conducted by the risk assessment team, parents would be notified of the risk assessment and any further actions determined by the district. During that process, it may be disclosed that the child is transgender. Notably, if the nature of the, I'm sorry, that's a continuation of the sentence. Notably, if the nature of the referral is directly correlated to the student's status as an individual who identifies as a transgender. I'm sorry. The administration adheres to the policy established by the board for transgender students and makes every effort to ensure its accurate and consistent application. If the language ever changes, either through board action or outcomes from well-settled litigation that informs board action, we will certainly respond accordingly to ensure compliance with the board's policy. The meeting ended at approximately 9 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Ballard. So then at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to approve action item number 1 on the agenda. Ms. Gills in a second. Ms. Hoppy? It's hard to see you over there. Okay. Is there any discussion related to policy?
I have a few things very quickly. LAD prohibits blanket notification, but it does not prohibit a more comprehensive policy. So that's incorrect. And guidance was just that, guidance. The only law falls under LAD, which means we cannot do blanket notification like I wanted. You cannot, we are not allowed to do it, but you can tailor the policy. That is not prohibited by law. That's all.
Can I, just to clarify what I believe you're asking based upon what you shared with the committee, you believe strongly that there should be a procedure for an elementary child and then potentially a different procedure for secondary.
And it would be good. It would be good if it was more detailed, so even if students read it, they would get a clear understanding of what's step 1, what's step 2, what is step 3. And are we ever bringing a child to a psychiatrist? Because you've kind of gone back and forth on that. I know at one meeting you said.
So I would be careful about that.
That is absolutely. You cannot attest to things that did not happen. That doctor, you're making evaluative comments about him right now. You cannot.
No, I'm not. I'm saying this happened in committee.
You're saying he's gone back and forth on it, and that is not accurate.
Okay, I'll give you the example. Heather, you remember when you were surprised about medical, and I said, yes, medical, and I said, Dr. Brochel, and he said to you, medical. That was in committee, and then it turned into no, just a psychiatrist, but that's an MD2. So you're saying no child would see a psychiatrist without parental notification.
Sure.
Okay, because my name just got brought into this. I have never been under the impression that Dr. Brochel told us that we are providing any form of medical services to our students. That has never been my impression, not once. So I do not want that completed in any way, shape, or form. I have never believed that. I think the district has been extremely clear how this
Heather, you don't remember September 11th curriculum when you said medical? And I'm like, yes, medical. And Dr. Brochel confirmed that.
You're hanging this, Sylvia, on a word. I don't.
You were surprised that it was medical. You were surprised. Because you were
Okay.
under the impression
We're not,
medical.
we're not going to go back and forth. Ms. Santoro is attesting to what she did or didn't say. We are not going to go back and forth on what people said or didn't say. Nor are we going to make unprovable assertions about things that were said by our superintendent. So if there is anything else.
I have some things to say.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start with, first of all, I wanted to thank the policy committee for considering the items I requested at the last meeting in policy, but I just have a couple of other comments. First, I want to start with what I'm most alarmed by, and I am just flabbergasted by the indication that a board member suggested that the district or the doctors hired by the district would suggest or facilitate gender transitioning. As Heather said, our schools do not and legally cannot facilitate, support, or suggest any student's medical transition. As we know, medical care decisions, including those related to gender identity, are made by families and licensed healthcare providers, not by teachers or administrators. The district's responsibility is to ensure that all students are treated with dignity and respect in accordance with New Jersey's law against discrimination and Department of Education guidelines. Supporting a student's right to feel safe and respected at school is not the same as endorsing or directing medical choices. It's simply complying with the law and fulfilling our duty as a district. If a board member truly believed that the district is facilitating a student's gender transition, then this concern should be raised, documented, and addressed immediately, given that this is a clear violation of the district's authority instead of being discussed in committee. I'm also deeply concerned by the suggestion in itself. It feeds public distrust and conspiracy narratives about schools overstepping parental roles or keeping secrets from parents. It undermines educators' professionalism and subjects them to unwarranted suspicion, and it distracts from the board and administration's legitimate responsibilities. It might even chill the district's ability to provide support to our LGBTQ students, which is highly concerning. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the discussion of 5756. I, like the majority of the policy committee and the board, fully support 5756 and have fully supported the policy since its original adoption. However, I disagree with the decision to discuss it again in committee at the last meeting. I believe that the decision to discuss it yet again without any change in the law or the operations of the district deeply undermines the power of the majority of our board, the will of the board, and this board's commitment to its established norms. I also worry that continually revisiting this policy could make our transgender community feel less safe, especially if students perceive that their rights are up for negotiation at every meeting. It also sets a bad precedent and could erode public trust in the functioning of the board, especially if the public feels that one member can dictate the agenda against the will of the majority. More importantly, continually revisiting settled topics can distract from our other priorities, such as improving student achievement. I recognize that the curriculum committee did revisit our opt-out policy at this month's meeting as well, so I know that the policy committee is not alone in this practice. I just encourage committees in the future to avoid the continual relitigation of settled topics. We can do better than this.
Okay.
I would like to address that. The only reason it was brought up.
Wait a minute. I need to find out if there's anybody else that has something to say regarding policy. Yeah.
I totally understand everything, but one thing I always think is very important, the communication with parents. So just this fact to see the genesis, right? Like if they log in and they can see a different name, that's my only concern, right? Like that will be, I mean, and it's different each age, but I would love that communication. That's all. Like before you go and to log in, and it's like the same. If I see a 6.0 in the I see right in a grade, and like how is I'm the last one to know. Right? Like I would like to, hey, you know, your son is going downhill in this grade. So that's my thing in that in those notes, you know. So, but
Just to speak to that, the policy does offer those discussions to take place between a school official and a child. Specifically, the board's policy speaks to, I think the wording is inadvertent or unintentional disclosure. So as an example, these are things that, and I'm sort of mimicking like you're a child. Like, these are things that you have to be aware of if, you know, if this is your intended name change, and this is what you want to be referred to, this is what that would mean as far as like Genesis as an example. So there are discussions where the child is fully informed of that. But certainly, you know, our policies on our website, you know, and the board has elected to bake those accommodations in between a school official and a child, so there is an awareness. So.
No, thank you. And as I said, I just want to make that, like, for me, it's always, I want that, the community, right? Do it together, and I want them to feel safe, of course. But, yeah, that was my only thing. Like, I want always parents to be included.
Dr. Butler?
I just wanted to say something briefly. One of the best parts of my job is being in schools. It's where I'm the happiest. I go there as often as I can. And I've been here a long time, so, and I'm, you know, from New Jersey. So I spend a lot of time saying to our staff and our kids, you know, how are you doing? Recently, I have heard from some of our staff members that they're worried about their colleagues and their students in light of some discussions at our meetings. Knowing the members, every one of the members that sit on this board, I can assure them when they say that to me that every single person on this board cares deeply about our staff and our students and cares about their dignity and their sense of belonging. I know when Dr. Brochel says all means all, he means it, and so does the board. So first, I hope that we can, as a group, convey that to our staff and our students and all of our listeners. We have a lot of listeners out there who really are listening to these words. It also made me think that when we report out on testing data, there are subgroups that we cannot report out on because the number of students in that subgroup is so small that we would risk identifying them, and the state withholds public reporting for privacy reasons. I would posit that the same may be true when we talk about our trans students, which we do often. In 2024, estimates for the transgender population in the United States by the USA Facts report suggests less than 1% of adults identify as transgender. Other surveys, like the one from the Williams Institute, estimate the transgender population is about 0.6% of Americans aged 13 and older. Over the years, I have spoken to parents of some of our trans kids, and I'm talking kids, I'm not talking about numbers here. I would say that overall, they are on a journey that they never expected to be on, and a journey that they might not have chosen for their child. But they love their child, they know their child, and they know what they think is best for their child. And they expect that we will care for the child they send to us each day. I think continually talking about this very small subset of our kids, it puts them and their families in a position that could be harmful, especially given that their journey is already probably challenging. So, you know, I just wanted to kind of speak to our LGBTQ plus kids and their families and tell them you are supported.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Yes.
I agree with you, Dr. Butler. I think having these transgendered students, that just cannot be an easy path to travel. That's why I think involving the parents is helpful if there's no abuse on the end of the parents. The only reason it's brought up today is because last month I was asked not to speak on it, and I confirmed that in an email that I would not speak on it last month, and then it was brought up anyway. That's the only reason it's being mentioned again. That's it. I understand the LAD does not allow blanket notification. I also don't agree that we don't keep secrets, because we do. Even if it's just for a few weeks or a few months, we do keep secrets. And I just want to make sure, Dr. Brochel, to any of the students ever, can they see a psychiatrist without you informing the parents?
So,
because that's the medical that you said.
if there is a child that is at risk of self-harm, of anything that would require our internal assessment team to initially intervene. We would then make a determination as to the next step. If there was a reason that they were going to hurt themselves, as an example,
You have to tell the parent.
we would engage a team. That's when we would engage a team.
What do you mean? So like if a
So
kid.
a risk assessment team, okay?
If I could add to that, if I could add to that, what we, what,
Right, because if they're
Passes-
presenting as suicidal, then you have to call the parents.
Pass-
But if
yes.
they're not presenting and they're just happy as can be in their new gender, and they're just hesitant to tell their parents, because I do believe these kids, when they transition, are happy. They're finally their authentic selves. But do they ever get to a point where you are having them treated by a psychiatrist, not because they're suicidal, because you would involve the parents immediately by policy? Is there ever a point that they would get to a psychiatrist level with no parental notification?
So doing some reflective listening in your hypothetical, you are asking if a child is placed in front of a psychiatrist or a medical doctor
Yes.
when there is no presenting concern for their safety. That's your question?
Yes.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I would just add to, PASS is an organization that we use. It's the Psychiatric Emergency Services. If we have a student that is in immediate risk and needs to be screened by PASS, the parent has to
Right,
come
right.
here.
From the suicide policy, right? It like triggers
cannot-
it.
I mean, PASS themselves would never see a child without the parent being present.
Well, right, because the suicide policy then comes in.
Well, I mean, that's also PASS's policy.
You know, self-harm or they're going to harm someone else.
Right, no, you have to tell the parents then. I just wish that we could do a framework, especially for the older kids, who might look up this policy and see what the steps are. But if you guys aren't on it, that's fine.
Well, wouldn't special education and the guidance counselor be aware of the guidance department, know the steps in which they would take, and then they would talk to the teacher? Like
Yes,
there
it's-
is.
The policy
there are
allows for everything to be
procedures
done on a
in
completely individualized
place
basis.
in the school,
Uh-huh.
so I guess, yeah.
Take care and guarantee the safety of all children. So again, why this is being talked about under policy 5756 specifically is a mystery to me. We're talking about this policy again. We have talked about it for 3 years. Nothing has changed. The district's approach hasn't changed. Firmly stand with Nicole. I think that this discussion is done. And I believe continued discussion on this is unfair to our transgender students and families. And I firmly stand that this needs, unless the majority of the board disagrees with me, it needs to stop at this point until there are changes that would warrant another conversation as dictated by law. That's what I.
You know, I'm not really good at Robert's Rules of Order, so this is my question to you. Is there a way that the board can vote tonight to say, as it seems the majority of us do, that we are perfectly fine with that policy and that we in fact support it?
I just conceded that.
So what can happen is when we after we conduct this vote, if someone were so inclined, they could make a motion to affirm that this board affirms policy 5756 in its present form. A roll call could be taken. That would end, any controversy over where the board stands on it.
Thank
Ms.
you very
Ballard.
Spoiler alert, I intend to do that. And the other thing I would like to say, And Sylvia, I am not debating this with you. You were never requested not to speak. And in my most generous analysis of that, I can say it's a misunderstanding, but you were never directed not to speak. I'm
Put it
not.
in the email.
No, we're not doing back and forth. We're not doing back and forth. Ms. Ballard is making a statement. Mr. Baker?
I'd like to call the question.
Okay, thank you very much. We need a second. I'm calling the question. Ms. Hoppy? Okay, and we need a roll call. Mr. Corey?
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Gills?
Yes.
Mrs. Gomez?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Yes.
Mrs. Santoro? Yes. Mrs. Rye?
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and now we can take roll call on policy item number 1.
Ms. Gills?
Yes.
Mrs. Gomez?
I do have a question in that one. Can I? Policy 55?
Well, we end,
Oh, no.
we ended discussion.
Okay, so, yes.
That was the vote, was to end discussion on policy. Okay.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Yes.
Mrs. Santoro?
Yes.
Mrs. Rye?
Yes.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda?
Yes.
Policy carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody that has anything for new or old business? Ms. Ballard?
I would like to make a motion to affirm policy 5756.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, Mr. LaGoria, do you have that? Okay, and can you do roll call on that
Mr.
motion?
Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Ballard?
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Gills?
No.
Mrs. Gomez?
I abstain.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Yes.
Mrs. Santoro?
Yes.
Mrs. Rye?
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. And while student service, is there anything for old or new business? My apologies for policy.
If it's for the policy, I just wanted to, like the way it's written, that's okay? Like the dress and grooming, I think like in the part that it says elementary dress code, I like it's on bullet points. But then when you go to middle school or high school, it's like 2 bullet points and then all is a paragraph. So I think.
Yeah, that's a formatting thing.
Yes,
We can
but I like
certainly,
it because I think it's easier for high school to say, okay, no, if not, they say,
That
oh, we
we-
can use the other thing.
we can we can absolutely update
Yes.
formatting and just
Yeah.
reapprove it. Yeah.
Thanks, Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Having taught middle school for a long time, I know that the policies need to be slightly different between elementary, middle, and high school.
Are you speaking to a specific policy?
The dress code
Okay.
policy, excuse me, I'm sorry. I do know, as a woman, that I've had male teachers ask me to speak to females because they feel very uncomfortable speaking to them, and I don't blame them. And so when we talk sometimes about unequal, how do I want to say, sometimes I have problems with words.
Application.
Discourse on it, application. You know, that's what it comes down to a lot of the time. And I know we all know this, and I know everybody who's listening knows this. Policies are wonderful, but they also require not only the school's implementation of them, but also parental cooperation with them.
Thank you.
I have to say I agree with her, and the only thing that worries me about the dress code is that I think females will probably be dress coded more. Because if you look at what they're wearing, like the items they're not allowed to wear, you don't usually see a guy in a cutoff shirt or a deep V. So my fear is that the dress code isn't going to be fair to the females. But I don't really know how to rectify that.
Well, but, we just
I know,
updated
that's
this,
just
so
my
we're
concern.
going to wait, we're going, out to see, our building level administration is aware of the changes and how they will implement it with fidelity. Student Services had no meeting and no action items. However, Dr. Brochel very kindly teed up the calendar discussion, so if everybody should have copies of the 26th. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, but, yeah. So there will be discussion regarding the calendar,
Right.
but there's no report.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would just say, Dr. Bush gave us great detail on the calendar. We've discussed, the whys behind the
Well,
calendar.
you want me to make the motion first so that we can have discussion? Okay. I was just saying that there was no report. Okay, so I just need a motion to approve action items number 1 through 3 on the agenda. Motion. Ms. Cooper, and a second. Ms. Santoro, thank you. And now discussion.
Okay. I'll just jump in for a second because Dr. Brochel up the calendar, gave a lot of detail. You guys have access to the calendar for the next 2 years. We will be putting them on, is the plan correct, Dr. Brochel, for next month to be approved. So now is the opportunity to have any board discussion around it. If there's any comments.
Yep, Ms. Clements.
So my concern, of course, as the Bedminster representative, is that will, it can be conflicted with many, with our students, the parents that have kids on high school and on elementary and middle school, because it changes a lot. So I don't, like Bedminster is not so, I don't agree so much to that calendar. I just want to express that because it's the.
To that point, I did have extensive conversations with Ms. G, and many of her requests were honored in the calendar. The start date was not, but many of the other requests were honored, and frankly made sense. And the one ask I have with Bedminster is, I know that with professional development, oftentimes you tend to bring in presenters and speakers, whereas Somerset Hills tends to do it internally. I'd like to see an internal movement or consideration in Bedminster so there could be alignment amongst the grade levels, and particularly as we're talking about the transition up to high school too. That way, some folks from Bedminster and Somerset Hills can have greater level of connectivity.
Cooper?
I just wanted to thank Dr. Butler and the administration for putting in so much time and effort and thought into these calendars. It is really meets the priorities of our board, or of me personally, and of our board discussions, and I'm very happy with it, so thank you very much. I'm really excited that we're finally able to start just a little bit earlier for the benefit of our students.
I think for my clarification, which I've asked before, maybe it would be helpful for the community just to briefly explain why we want to shift the calendar to before Labor Day, so that, more people might go, oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've been discussing this over the course of the last several months in committee and getting reported out here in the public that, really we're looking to obtain the most amount of instructional time for our students prior to the state mandated test. It also, so that just in and of itself benefits our students in grades 3 through 12, right? Because in 3rd grade, we start testing at a defined date by the state. There's no, there might give within a few weeks, but those tests have to happen. Additionally, there are groups of students that it also provides benefits to, such as seniors, as college applications move earlier. It gives them more time with their guidance counselors in advance of that, which they have to have, because our guidance counselors only work a predefined amount of time over the summer. So for the most part, seniors can't have access to guidance counselors until school returns. So those are the two general reasons we felt that the additional instructional time for our students, as well as some specific benefits for certain groups of students, is what we're looking for. And
within the nation. New Jersey is one of 5 states left. That starts after Labor Day. You know, so I think that there's a move to this in general, but really to boil it down instead, you know, give our kids more time with their teachers in the classroom prior to testing. Okay. Sorry, yes,
I mean,
that was a big one.
I think that's a big one, and like some of those testing, you know, some of the other states have like a full month more of instructional time before these AP tests and other, you know, similar tests, and I think this would just give especially our high school students, who may already, a lot of whom are already back doing sports, and, you know, just a little more time with their teachers.
Clarify, this is not with only high school
Of
students
course,
in mind.
no, it's not.
This is for the totality of our student population to increase instructional time to the greatest extent possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is there anybody else?
And I will just note, Sam, sorry.
Yeah.
That's why we're making a shift in the calendar. We're not adding additional days then, you know, we're just shifting it earlier.
Anybody else?
Sorry, one more question. Sorry, the spring break is going to be now different also like Bedminster? That's right?
Well, to my knowledge, you haven't created your calendar yet,
Yes.
so you can always match it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, then roll call, please.
Mrs. Gomez.
I
Mrs.
abstain.
Mrs. Hoppy. Mrs. Santoro.
Yes.
Mrs. Rye.
Yes.
Mr. Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Ms. Clark Emery.
Yes.
Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Ms. Gills.
Yes.
Mrs. Frenda.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to board announcements. The views and opinions that may be expressed by individual members of the Somerset Hills Board of Education during board announcements are solely those of the individual board members and do not reflect the views, opinions, policies, regulations, and/or positions of the Somerset Hills Board of Education and/or any other individual members of the board. Does anybody have anything for board announcements? Nope.
Oh, wait, I do. First of all, I think Dr. Brochel's idea about 2 meetings a month is very good to talk about committee and the public. And thank you, Dr. Butler. We're always appreciative of you, not just this month.
Okay, anybody else?
Can I just say thank you to all of you for keeping me in the loop with my knee replacement? Thank you very much. You know, I was concerned that I would be missing out on a lot of information, and you guys are totally transparent and just really were helpful and very kind to me also when I left, and I thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to be back.
We're glad to have you back and walking well.
But I will say, it's nice to know that I didn't have to worry about missing a beat. You know, Dr. Brochel, thank you so much. I know that we've spoken, Sam and I have spoken tremendously. You know, you guys are always available to us as board members, and that's huge, you know, because we are here. I am here. We are here. And, you know, when you have something coming up, you feel, you know,
You're
more
worried.
panic, you go, oh my God. So thank you. I do appreciate it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, then we are going to move on to public comments. Forgive the speed with which I'm reading. I'm just trying to move it along. Public comments are welcome at this time on any topic. Please state your name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, you will be interrupted and asked to pause to allow any other members of the public who would like to speak an opportunity to do so. An individual may return to the podium to complete their statement after everyone else has had an opportunity to speak for a total of 2 times at the podium. Please understand that our public forums are not structured as question and answer sessions, but are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. In instances where the board feels that there is a misunderstanding or inaccuracy, the board president or superintendent may address the comment. In accordance with New Jersey statute, the board will not discuss matters regarding specific personnel. A reminder for all parties in attendance to remain respectful and that there should be no interaction between the speaker and the audience. No members of the audience should interfere with or interrupt the speaker's comments. Thank you in advance for your input. As always, please refer to Mr. Logori's timer, which will count down your remaining time, and you will be asked to pause at 3 minutes. And if all speakers could please just sign in. Yes.
Hi, I'm Sarah Falzerano, President of Somerset Hills Education Association. As president of SHE, I'm using this moment to celebrate and give thanks on behalf of our executive board. So often in life, in our world today, which is filled with misinformation, political or personal agendas, it's easy to only focus on the negatives. Tonight, I want to ensure that everyone here hears the amazing things going on in our schools, and our people working in those schools hear the thanks that they deserve and too seldom receive. We thank our teachers. Here in Somerset Hills School District, teachers don't simply teach content, they teach life skills. From our pre-K to our AP teachers, they teach our students how to work hard, persevere, think critically, and treat others with respect. Teachers take the daily lessons from our state-mandated standards and make them into thoughtful and engaging lessons. They expose students to topics to broaden their schema and create independent thinkers communicating with parents and families about all the amazing things happening in the classroom. We thank our paraprofessionals who work one-on-one with some of our most special students. We thank our nurses who take care of our students while allowing grace and dignity to our students. We thank our secretaries who keep the schools running and organized day to day. We thank our custodian and maintenance crews who allow us to be safe and comfortable. We thank our tech department who keep us online even in a power outage, and our students safe from unneeded distractions. We thank our coaches and extracurricular advisors who teach competition, inclusion, commitment, teamwork, and sportsmanship. We thank our counselors and CST members who are constantly ensuring our students have the supports they need. We thank our administrators. Their support, not only day-to-day in our buildings, but long-term collaboration teams are invaluable to our success, which directly impact our students. We thank this Board of Education's partnership and commitment to make policies and committees that are relevant and right for our students. We appreciate the thoughtfulness and carefulness in which decisions are made. You and our administration provide opportunities where our staff can create environments with high academic standards, where each student can meet their own potential, and where we can continue to be an outstanding community of teaching and learning. From teachers to paras, maintenance, and admin, we have a truly amazing staff, hired not just for their skill, but because of their knowledge and their merit. And most importantly, because they care. All of I've mentioned are all strong qualities of excellent public education. And last, thank you to students. Without you, none of us would be here doing what we love. Never forget that we see you, we hear you, and we will never stop making decisions with you in the forefront of our mind. We all know that divisiveness is the enemy. So we thank all of our staff by leading example by example with patience, dignity, and respect to each other and our students, and teaching that together we can achieve anything for them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Falzerano.
Good evening, board members. I'm just going to read what I'm going to say. And I missed the Golden Bachelor, so you know this is important, okay? So my name is Jen Walsh. I'm a proud parent and supporter of the high school wrestling program. I want to start by thanking you for all you've done to improve our schools and our athletic programs. Your efforts have truly made a difference for our kids. They are loving the lights. Thank you very much. I'm here tonight to respectfully advocate for Coach Ryan Abbott, a volunteer, and to express concern for our lack of volunteers support in the wrestling program. From the moment Coach Ryan joined the team, he made an incredible impact. He built relationships with every wrestler, not just the top performers, and gave them confidence, focus, and belief in themselves. He's the type of coach who doesn't just show up for practice, he helps with everything, including the tedious but essential behind-the-scenes tasks like scheduling, attending seating meetings, and making sure every small detail runs smoothly. That kind of dedication is rare, especially from someone volunteering their time purely out of love for the sport and the kids. Right now, our wrestling program is running with very limited adult support, while the schools we compete against often have 8 to 10 coaches in their wrestling rooms. We now have 1 head coach and 1 assistant coach. When my son was preparing for the regional tournament last year, his coaches arranged for him to train at other programs, and each of those rooms had multiple coaches working with those athletes, about 8 to 10, and we're providing them highly technical instruction, correcting form, and giving individualized instruction. My son came home amazed by the level of support those programs have and how much it helped him improve in such a short period of time. Wrestling is a sport that demands technical teaching, constant supervision, and individualized coaching. Without enough adults in the room, it's impossible to give every athlete the attention and development they deserve. Coach Ryan's absence will leave a real gap, not just in numbers, but in leadership and in heart. Those of us who have been at every match have seen firsthand where Ryan's focus always is, on the kids' safety, growth, and well-being. I understand there are limits to what can be discussed publicly, but I sincerely ask that this situation be revisited with fairness and transparency. Reinstating Coach Ryan Abbott as a volunteer would strengthen the wrestling program and send a powerful message to those that we value fairness, mentorship, and the people who go above and beyond for our students. Thank you for your time and for your continued commitment to our student athletes. I'm also going to add, I am an attorney, and watching this whole discussion, I will say that when a decision comes down from a court of law, you would employ a law firm like I work at that would then summarize it and have extensive opinions on that opinion from the court. And it just seems like a waste of time that you should just employ a professional to say what it said. That's what you should do. I'm sorry.
Thank you for
pay
your
for an
comment.
opinion.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Walsh.
Hi, Maria Ortiz Myers. I live on Ambar Place here in Bernardsville, and you'll forgive me because I had not planned to speak today. I was really just coming to observe, but I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all for your work and your dedication, your commitment to the staff and faculty of our wonderful school district, our entire community, and in particular our students. I want specifically to thank Drs. Bolschel and Butler, because from what I've heard today, I believe that your straightforward explanations of our district's approach to some difficult topics is well intended and informed by a great deal of expertise, which I appreciate. I am not an attorney, so I won't give you any opinions on any other issues on which I'm not qualified to speak, but I will say that I teach in Rutgers Information Informatics program, and I look forward to you spending your valuable time on issues that affect 100% of our students right now and in their futures, just as you did with the calendar. That affects 100% of our students, and you did that so efficiently, beautifully. I commend you. I look forward to hearing about your deliberations about artificial intelligence, coaching our kids through the cognitive, behavioral, and emotional handicap or obstacles that those present, and getting away from divisive issues like Policy 5756. I want to thank you for affirming that on behalf of all the students that I have interacted with at Rutgers and the ones that I interact with monthly as part of my research now for 7 years. And yeah, thanks, guys. You're doing a good job.
Thank you for your comment.
Hi, I'm Craig Caggiano, 189 Washington Corner Road, Burnsville. I am profoundly disappointed in the board's actions this evening in affirming Policy 5756. You all are entitled to your opinion, but I have to say you are in the minority. A Monmouth County University poll, which is a respected polling organization, has said that 81% of New Jersey parents favor parental notification. 81%. You couldn't get 8 in 10 people to decide where we were going to go for dinner tonight. Yet 8 in 10 people of parents support gender notification. But you're entitled to your opinion. What you're not entitled to are your facts. And Ms. Santoro, I am profoundly disappointed in your characterization of Policy 5756 as well-settled law. There is nothing further from the truth. You have asked, what has changed in the last 3 years? Let me explain what has changed in the last 3 years, and let me explain why this issue is more important than the 1% of the population, because it goes to the very heart of the parent-teacher relationship, the school-family relationship, of transparency. In February 2025, 8 months ago, the appellate division said in Hanover v. Plankton that the defendant's rules were too broad. Hanover had implemented blanket notification, meaning knee-jerk reaction. If a child comes in, the parents must know. The court said that that was overbroad. What it left open, what it did not forbid, was boards creating their own policies. It only stopped blanket policies that automatically notify parents. The judges left room for districts to consider the student's age, weigh any harm, and use clear case-by-case procedures. On top of that, so if our district goes beyond what the appellate division says is necessary, we are keeping secrets from parents. At the same time, right now, in the Third Circuit, Heaps v. Delaware, in that case, Delaware Valley was sued.
Mr. Caggiano, my apologies, I do have to interrupt and allow other speakers if they choose to.
Hi, Brad Ike, 60 Stone Fence Road. Before I start with my remarks, I just want to say these Board of Education meetings are wild, and I commend all the sane people of the board. Good evening, Dr. Brochel and members of the board. While I applaud the decision to finally hire a wrestling coach for the girls, I'm here tonight to express my concern over the recent termination of volunteer wrestling coach Ryan. Ryan has been an invaluable part of the Bernards High wrestling program for years. His technical knowledge, his steady presence, and his commitment to every athlete, even as an unpaid volunteer, show just how much he cares about our kids and about the sport. He's given countless hours, often long after practice ends, helping to keep the program organized and to make sure our wrestlers grow not only in skill, but in confidence, character, and resilience. What makes this decision even more frustrating is that wrestling has long felt like one of the least resourced programs at our school. These kids practice in small, outdated spaces, old uniforms, have minimal home matches, and often receive less attention than other sports. Yet they never complain. They show up, give everything they have, and leave their hearts and souls on the mat. The program survives because of people like Ryan, coaches who give their time and energy out of sheer dedication. Removing this team's dedicated volunteer doesn't just hurt Ryan, because I know it deeply impacts him. It hurts the kids and the coaches. These kids lose a mentor and a source of stability in a demanding sport, and the coaches lose a dedicated assistant who helps with the day-to-day tasks like communication, home match coordination, and uniform organization and distribution so the coaches can focus on coaching. I urge the district to reconsider this decision and to afford the wrestling team the same opportunity to have volunteers on the roster as all of the other Bernard sports teams are afforded. The administration really missed the mark with this decision, but there is still time to make it right. Please allow Ryan to be reinstated as a volunteer for the Bernards wrestling team. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Ike. A little bit taller.
Allison Librera, 10 Stevens Street. The letter that was sent home provides clear, proactive communication outlining the process by which parents will be notified if classrooms, The court's reference to whenever one of the books in question or any other similar book used in any way does not mandate an individualized legal notice for every instructional reference. The district system of advanced communication through teacher notification satisfies the spirit and substance of the court's ruling. The court requires that parents have the opportunity to opt out, not that districts issue redundant formal letters for each classroom instance. The New Jersey DOE has not yet issued formal guidance, and the district's procedure demonstrates that it has taken immediate good faith steps to align with the Supreme Court's decision. Ms. Gills, let's call this what it is. This is not a genuine concern. This is a political performance. Don't insult this community by pretending otherwise. Your repeated badgering is not productive. It burdens our administrators and teachers who are already working tirelessly to support our students. And frankly, it's offensive to suggest that our teachers are keeping secrets from parents. This board has acted transparently and responsibly, even going so far as to provide families with a complete list of curriculum material.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Librera.
Hi, I'm Sarah McShane. I'm a third grade teacher at Bedwell. I want to first start off by thanking Dr. Butler for attending the Hispanic Heritage Celebration, which was last Thursday. The turnout was, I think, a lot better than we could have even predicted. As Dr. Broschel detailed earlier, the night was filled with cultural dances, crafts, face painting, and a beautiful display of artifacts representing, a variety of countries, and it was great to see the community come together for this. I also just wanted to shout out the students that maybe wouldn't necessarily be recognized for the efforts that they played in the event over the summer program. The multilingual students worked on a lot of projects that were on display at the event. They actually voted on which crafts and which treats to have offered, so they really played a very meaningful role in this event. And it was great to have the students from BMS volunteering. They got their community service hours, but they also learned a lot about Hispanic heritage and helped the event run smoothly. And of course, the HSA funding the event, they always come to the rescue when it comes to that. So I just think that this event was a wonderful celebration of culture, community, and student voice. And it was a true reflection of the diversity and spirit of Bedwell. And on that note of diversity, I just want to sincerely thank the board for recognizing the critical importance of inclusivity, student safety, and the protection of student identities, particularly for the LGBTQ plus students. And I appreciate your sensitivity and support to this community. And as you make important decisions, thank you for focusing what is best for all students across the board, and also for recognizing us as educators who are dedicated professionals, that you trust us, that we operate with transparency, that you expect that we work with the best of intentions. And thank you also for considering the practical and logistical impact on teacher workloads when you consider and implement these procedures. So that way we can maximize our time with the students, which is the best part of the profession. No offense to the adults, but the more time we get to spend with the students, the better. So thank you for your help with that endeavor.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. McShane. Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
Hi, Kelly Hunt, Valentine Road in Bernardsville. How great is she? So obviously there was a lot of meaty discussion tonight, and our board and superintendent have put in a great deal of effort. What I am impressed with is the thoughtful care that a majority of this board has put into these nuanced issues for the welfare of all of our students. As Ms. Santoro said, I stand with Ms. Cooper's comments on both curriculum and policy so as not to have to rehash these issues. I also wanted to mention that I was able to attend the wonderful Hispanic Heritage event, Hispanic Heritage Month event that Mrs. McShane was a part of planning, and along with many of Bedwell's staff and HSA leaders. The event was truly a beautiful celebration. Also, I was recently able to volunteer at the BMS Book Fair and the BMS Staff Appreciation event last week, which made for a very festive week. I have heard the middle school called the middle child many times, but there are great things going on there. And I just also really wanted to thank Mrs. Haynes just support all week, and the gym teachers in particular for giving up their gym space for us. They were really supportive. It's been a lot of fun to be able to spend some time there, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt, for your comment. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time?
Hi, Maura McGrail, 36 Stevens Street. Every time I come to one of these meetings, I think it can't get worse, and I'm always wrong. So I encourage everyone here and who may be watching to please vote next month. Our students and teachers deserve better than what you saw here tonight. The majority of these board members are working tirelessly for all of our students, but we need more of that. As Dr. Butler noted, parents have been informed of the reading list since September via Genesis and newsletter communications from the teachers. And you put a procedure in place to action as quickly as you can following the Supreme Court decision, before other schools have even done that. But that still seems to not be enough for some. Certain individuals have spent a lot of time complaining about how it is enacted. It seems nothing is ever good enough. But I'd love to know, how many parents have opted out of these reading instructions since that time? We're wasting the board and public's time nitpicking the semantics when this has already been vetted out with legal counsel and is in alignment with the Supreme Court decision and is continuing to be evaluated prior to being put into a policy. Not to mention the teacher's time that is being wasted by having to compile these lists, which is taking away from other important learning opportunities from both the teachers and our children. I find a lot of these board discussions offensive whenever this topic or policy 5756 is brought up. And the same thing is discussed over and over monthly at these meetings. And whenever someone who has not gone to law school and does not have a JD is given a platform to confuse the public and undermine the hard work of this board to grasp at straws to drum up votes for their own election. So I was just wondering, if this type of behavior at board meetings is going to continue, can I and the public have a heads up whenever you will be discussing items that are ridiculous and a waste of our time? Finally, so much discussion tonight has been around following rules, policy, and procedures. So I'd just like to remind Ms. Skills that the board norm, as stated in writing, says no active use of phones in executive sessions or at the board table. Thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. McGrail.
Good evening. Again, my name is Krista Rudy, 13 Sheepville Drive, Gladstone. In the essence of time, I'm not going to read my prepared statement. I'm just going to echo what has been said by Mrs. Walsh and Mr. Ike regarding the reconsideration or reinstatement of our volunteer coach for wrestling. Mr. Abbott has dedicated tireless amounts of time, resources, connections, and his love for the sport to all of our children, with my daughter being included. My daughter started off less than 2 years ago with a zero experience wrestling. And through Coach Ryan's dedication to not only my child, but many of our children, he has coached her to a state title. So before that, she was lacking direction as well as the resources and the ability to attend many tournaments. You know, many of those have been nationally and even in international competitions. He has, without pay and to the sacrifice probably of his own family, dedicated time and countless resources to our program, elevating the level of our wrestling, correcting missteps that may have been made due to oversight on multiple levels, as well as just being a major mentor and support for many of our kids who have definitely grown in their love for the sport as well as just maturity. So I'm just here to petition the board to reconsider, you know, the decisions that have been made, and hopefully you can reinstate our volunteer. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Hello, my name is Matthew Vasquez. I am a wrestler on the wrestling team this year. I'm starting my junior year. I've been wrestling for around 10 years, and one of the best coaches I've ever been coached by is definitely Coach Ryan. I feel like his ability to show up and like be there for you as a wrestler as a volunteer is very valuable, and it shows his care for the sport. He has brought me to many tournaments. He has coached me on days that it's not a very good day to show up. He would show up on very short notice, and he would be in my corner always, giving me tips and pointers. I started wrestling in the summer this year and grown a lot, and he has been my coach for the summer. I've grown significantly because of him being there as a coach, and because of him I've improved, and I want him to be there this year. And I hope that you guys can reconsider him coaching, because he's a big part of my improvement and my growth. And I feel like with the coaches we have this year, although they are very good, he is a very big part of that growth. And I feel like with him, I can improve my placement in states or regions or whatever tournament or match I go into. And I would like him to be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Hi, my name is Melissa Leonard. I'm a teacher at Bedwell and a resident of 60 Liberty Road in Bernardsville. Thank you to the Board of Ed, Dr. Broschel, Dr. Butler for your time this evening. I'm going to keep it very brief, but I've been a teacher in the district for over 20 years and a parent of 2 children in the district for 7 years. I'm proud to work here and proud to have my children succeed here. This pride comes because I work and live in a district that emphasizes that all students feel safe, that all students feel empowered, that all students feel valued. I want to thank the board, especially the curriculum committee, Dr. Butler, Dr. Broschel, for continuing to ensure that our public education curriculum is inclusive to all students and maintains educational integrity. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Leonard. Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment who hasn't spoken?
Good evening. My name's Sean Doherty. I live at 18 Liberty Road. I have 2 daughters in the district, both high school students, 1 freshman, 1 junior. I'll spare you most of what I wrote tonight in the essence of time, because we all spend a lot of time in this room. I just wanted to touch on a few things regarding my older daughter's educational experience. Currently, she's a junior. She's in an AP class, and we have some concerns about the subjective nature of the curriculum. Some points that have been brought up amongst everyone in this room have been inclusivity, students' rights, value of time spent teaching, safety, empowerment, value. I feel as though my daughter's being underserved with some of the steerage of the curriculum, an example of which would be homework pointing in the direction of writing an essay on Islamophobia on 9/11. That's near and dear to me. I'm of the age where I know some people whose names are written on walls. We've had discussions with people in the district about this. My daughter's been concerned about bringing this to the attention of the teacher out of fear of repercussions. Some of her peers have as well. We've met with this teacher. We've met with this teacher supervisor. I've seen other homework assignments that have been incongruent with the changes she told us she was going to make. I will spare you her name. I don't know all the rules, but I know some of the rules. But I have to bring this to your attention as your father. I'm new to these meetings, but I'm not new to speaking out. And I'm here to speak for my daughter and some of her concerns because she doesn't want to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anybody else?
Hi, Michelle Dooley, 8 Olcott, teacher at Bedwell, and I have 3 kids in the district, 2 at the middle school, 1 at Bedwell. I want to thank you, the board, for supporting all kids. It means a lot. I've been coming here for 3 years now, speaking out for these kids, to tell them that we as a community support them and love them, and we're here for them. And I hope that we can table this, as we said last meeting, because every time that I'm here, my kids from my house know that I'm coming here and know what I'm coming to speak up about, and what is still needs to be put to rest, and that we need to focus on the kids. And I'm not able to focus on my own kids at home. And every month, and for 3 years, I've been coming, and it's a lot of time that I could be with my own children. And I still have to get up tomorrow morning and get them ready for school and get myself to school and teach and be fun for my own students as well. So I appreciate your support. I continue to be here, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for your comments.
Megan Dooley, she, her. I'm a school counselor here, have been since 2009. I will keep this super brief. I also have been coming to these meetings for far too long because we continue to bring up a policy that puts a spotlight on, again, as Dr. Butler said, a very tiny population of our students, and these are very real children behind these conversations. So I will say what I have said before, and that is just to any of our trans and non-binary students who are watching, who are listening, who are paying attention to the conversations at and surrounding these Board of Ed meetings, please know that you are supported, you are cared for, and I continue to know in my heart and believe that the vast majority of adults in this district, those who live here and those who work here, do not believe that your humanity and your protection are topics that should be under review. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody else who would like to make a comment at this time who hasn't spoken yet?
Sylvia Gills, 189 Washington Corner Road. I was on my phone because my mother has COVID and is currently hospitalized, and I chose to come here tonight than be with my mother. That's why my phone was out. I hope that's okay. As to Allison, to say that I'm bringing this up is incorrect for political points. We are in violation right now of a Supreme Court order. You seem okay with that. I'm not. We can lose federal funding. We can be sued. Until we get a policy on the books, we are not in compliance. And I never said teachers keep secrets. Administrators keep secrets. That's too heavy of a burden to place on a teacher. I would never have said that. I was a teacher, would never do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment at this time?
You can finish.
I'm just going to finish my comments regarding policy 5756. I disagree with what people have said here this evening because we're not bringing up this topic goes to the very heart of the parent-teacher relationship, and to say that it's settled law is incorrect. The appellate division's decision in Plankton versus Hanover Township outlawed blanket notification. That's it. It did not order anything else but forbid blanket notification. It did not permit it permitted tailored notification. It permitted review of all other aspects of policy 5756, and that occurred only 8 months ago. Right now, the Third Circuit is debating whether or not a federal law is required. So to say any of this is settled law is inaccurate and wholly inappropriate. You're entitled to your opinions, but you're not entitled to your facts. If the district's policy goes beyond what the appellate division says is mandated under LAD, you are keeping secrets from parents. You are going further than the appellate division, who interpreted the law against discrimination, allows. And that's why this is far from settled. You're entitled to your opinion, I respect your vote tonight, but to suggest that this is settled and not worthy or appropriate to bring up when the law is in flux. Just today, the Supreme Court granted certiorari on a case involving transgenders in participation in sports. The law is evolving. The board must evolve with the law. It cannot rely on old guidance, which is only guidance. And even the court in Plankton said, that's just guidance. The boards are free to adopt a policy so long as they don't require blanket notification. You can make a policy to say a 7-year-old won't be treated in the same way as a 17-year-old. That's totally permissible. But according to this board, a 7-year-old and a 17-year-old should be treated in the same way. That is unfathomable to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
If you are concerned about not knowing something about your child, I suggest that you work on your relationship with your child so your child feels comfortable coming and having these conversations with you. Imagine the money this district could save if we didn't have to pay for an attorney to come and babysit one board member.
Thank you for your comment.
That's a personal attack. I know my children very well. I speak openly with my children, and anybody on this board who knows me will know that. That was unholy, inappropriate. You don't know me. You don't know my children. I know them, and if there was anything going on that I didn't know yet, I would want to know, and you would want to know too.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody else who has anything to say for public comment? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to close public comments? Mr. Baker and Ms. Gills, I don't often make clarifications because I don't feel the need to, but since there was issue regarding well-settled law, we are presently in compliance with the prevailing law, which is the New Jersey law against discrimination. That is what we will continue to comply with. There are always things moving through the court. There is always litigation, and if any litigation should change New Jersey law against discrimination being the prevailing law in this state and or some federal law or ruling supersedes that, then that would be well settled and we would have to evaluate our policy. But at this moment in time, the New Jersey law against discrimination, not guidance, but the New Jersey law against discrimination, which the guidance is based on, is the prevailing law in New Jersey, and that is what we abide by. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
Sam, someone just walked in. I don't know if they want to speak, if he wants to speak.
Well,
I know.
we
can
closed public comment.
He was here before.
No,
Oh,
we closed.
I'm sorry.
Closed public comment. At this time, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Baker and Ms.
And
Santora, and all in favor? All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for hanging with us.